Long Way Travels. I want to appreciate everyone joining in on the live today. I've got a special guest here, Mr. Anthony Venture himself. Before we get into any topics, I want him to introduce himself. You know him from the Points and Miles game. And then we'll get into some of the topics. We're going to talk about Italy, Greece, points and miles, weird things that happen, great stories we have. So without further ado, here's Anthony Venture.
What's going on, guys? Anthony Venture here. I'm literally simultaneously making this post because I forgot to make a post for people to come in. Yeah, just fellow points a miler. Been doing it since 2021. Most of those years were spent all domestically, traveling all around the United States with points a miles, and then more recently doing some international stuff. And why we're talking about Greece and Italy today, because definitely have some interesting insights. And let's just say I love the international stuff, but I actually appreciate America even more having done them. But a little bit of a hot take for you, and but I'm gonna make a post quick as well with this stream.
All right. And looks like we got Mike New in the house. I mean, we all know Mike. He is the best supporter for every credit card creator. So appreciate Mike joining in. Like I said, we'll give it a couple minutes for everyone to join in. We also appreciate everyone joining on a Saturday afternoon. Your weekend is your time to relax, recover, watch football, or go out. So we appreciate everyone joining. I know, you could be doing anything else. So yeah, we'll give it, just a couple more minutes. And then, like I said, I know Anthony is recovering now from his big Europe trip. How do you feel now? I think you were, what, 6, 7, 8 hours ahead of time?
Yeah, well, that's the funniest thing, and we got to feel that when we went to Greece too. But especially for because actually Greece is an extra hour, so it's a little bit easier because I think we're only 6 hours ahead in Italy. So communication is always a little bit weird there. I start getting texts in the nighttime. In the nighttime, people are like, "Hey, what's going on?" News and all these different things. One of the worst things that happened, which I thought was going to be an advantage, and it wasn't, was when the Amex Platinum card fully refreshed on September 18th. I was at the moment that it was refreshing. It refreshed at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was actually just boarding a flight over to Frankfurt, Germany at that time, and I was like, I have no connection and I have no time. How am I going to film, this news and get all of this done? And I was watching Joe Barretto was live and all that stuff, and I was like, damn, I want a plane. What am I gonna do? So the time of communications, cool. But I really hoped that was going to be my advantage. Like, oh, I'm going to be up while everyone's asleep when the platinum refreshes. And no, I actually had to leave that day, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was just so much going on the last, I just came back, I think Thursday night, so I've been gone for like 11 days.
That's right.
So I know Anthony, and recently he's been to Greece, and he just came back from Italy, and then I just went to Greece, and I also came back from Turkey. So we're going to talk about our experiences and just kind of go over what happened, the points and miles we had. So without further ado, Anthony, let's talk about Italy. Like, I know you just came from there, you spent 10 plus days there. Was it the best experience ever?
So I wouldn't say it was the best. No, I can't in good conscience say it was the best experience ever. We spent actually, if we really go by day, we were out and about for like 15 days. So it was like 2 weeks in a day. And what I mentioned initially was I think there were some really nice parts of Italy. I think there were some really awesome things to see. And honestly, for me, a lot of the time it's all just it's part vacation, but it's part work because I'm experiencing these things so I can teach them later on. I'm also filming a million different things, so it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. Like, oh, I'm filming all this stuff, but it's also crazy life changing hotels and flights and areas, stuff that you dream about, we're able to do. So it's very cool. And there was definitely some highlights that we'll talk about. Like we absolutely loved Florence. Lake Garda has a special place in my heart as well, even though it's really annoying to get there and super expensive. I think it was worth seeing and experiencing that. But yeah, two weeks plus is too long for me and my wife personally. We like to stay at home. If we could do 1 week, come home, we're cool. So that's well, it was the best, but it was definitely like yeah one of the best because most of my other trips are U.S. domestic. I still have like nostalgia for them, but as far as like grandeur and like insane things that we saw, yeah, I mean it's definitely like a top 5 trip, absolutely.
Appreciate it. So before we get to Mike Newland's question, let's give a shout out to Cesar. Appreciated man joining in. He's always
Caesar.
there, always supporting one of the good guys here in the Points and Miles game.
Oh yeah.
And I like the fact that Mike brought this up because I wanted to segue really. So obviously before you got to Italy, you did one of the flights that I'm trying to do, and you can tell people how you booked it, how you earned it. But that elusive Emirates A380 you did, I believe, from Newark to Italy, right?
Yeah, we did JFK to Milan on the A380, the one with the bar in the back. I always have to mention, the Emirates. So I finally have one leg up on Michael Wong. Isn't that crazy? Who would have thought I would have ever had one leg up on Michael Wong, who's done everything. No, I think Emirates was insanity. I transferred about 187,000 Chase points over to Emirates and then booked that flight 2 one-ways for my wife and I. They said the cash price was like 11 grand, but obviously, I don't know, inflated because it's like they have a Flex Plus versus just a normal business class. Points are only Flex Plus. So that a really insane experience. The insane amount of service, like the level of service is nothing like we've ever really experienced outside of like some crazy luxury hotels. But even this was above and beyond that. Um, and having being technically my first business class, flight ever, it definitely set a standard for what's possible in this entire game. And because like someone coming from economy only, to this Emirates, I'm like, whoa, this is insane. You sit down, you're immediately greeted with some wine and I think some actually was it champagne then wine, one of those. They come by with an amenity kit. They're like, oh, here's some toothbrush, toothpaste, some shavers, all these different things. Then they come by again for a blanket, a pillow. Like, oh, do you want a bed? Like, do you actually want a whole bed? And they're like, yes. They put a bed behind you so you can rest on it, a pillow, blanket, and all those different things. I actually, what I really liked that, and we could talk about Lufthansa as well, but Emirates actually had a plug on the TV screen, like an actual two-prong plug, like a normal outlet you have here in America, two-prong plug to plug in your phones and stuff. So we have a charger from home that I just brought with us, and we did the two-prong plug, and then we plugged it in. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Lufthansa, we didn't have a way to charge on the way home because I don't have a USB. I only have USB-C, so they didn't have that. It's not updated enough. But yeah, Emirates is next level. She almost felt uncomfortable because of the level of service, but she loved them, the stewardesses and all of them. They were just so on the ball with everything and catering to every possible thing you would want. Yeah, I loved it.
All right, let's give a shout out to Jennifer, member of the channel. Thank you for
Jennifer.
joining. She's
Oh.
really into the Points and Miles game. She's really into international travel, especially apparently Japan, like everyone else, which obviously could be a new topic going forward. We
Hmm.
got Kevin showing up.
Kevin.
What's up, guys? I'll be taking notes and player two for support. Appreciate the support.
Hello, Naiwan. Nice.
But I will say, so I want to ask you this question. Obviously, this actually can go with Mike Newland's question.
Hmm.
So I've only done one late night flight, and it was
Hmm.
disappointing because I felt like, and I talked about this, the service is about limited. It was definitely limited. It wasn't felt limited, it was definitely limited. Like they didn't really want to help out.
Huh.
Shout out to KLM. The food was okay. So when I asked you this question, one was the Wi-Fi good there? Because sometimes they do charge for Wi-Fi. And did you feel like the experience, like they were very attentive versus my experience where like they just wanted me to sleep for 14 hours?
So that's interesting, and I have heard you say that, and a few other people say that. So I don't know if Emirates just like circumvents all of those things, but yeah, it was an overnight flight. We flew at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a 7 hour flight over to Milan, and no, they were extremely accommodating the entire time. There was nothing I felt like we couldn't ask them. Like I felt like if we asked one of them to land the plane and go get some steak from the butcher place. I think they might have done it, but I'm not sure. We maybe we'll have to try it next time. But no, they were extremely accommodating, and the only time that there was downtime was when everybody was sleeping. Like it was. I think it was maybe if I really think about it, it was about probably 2 or 3 a.m. Our time. So it was late at night, and every like 20 minutes, one of them would walk past me and they would look down to see if I was sleeping, and I'd be like, I'm still awake. I'm not sleeping yet. And they would just keep walking past, and they would ask if you need anything. At one point I couldn't even sleep, so I got up at like 3 a.m. and I said, all right, let me go see what this bar lounge is all about. Surely there's nobody back there. I walk back there. There's a couple guys going, what's going on? Just hanging out. And then I asked them, I was like, hey, I'm like doing a video showcasing all of this. Can you like record me at the bar lounge? So they're like, yeah, come in the back. And then they had one of them actually record me there and take some pictures and stuff, which was much appreciated. And they gave me some free chocolates and stuff. Like it was some like interesting, well, everything's free on there, but they gave me some like chocolates and stuff. I didn't actually even test the Wi-Fi. Actually, did I test the Wi-Fi? No, I think I did test the Wi-Fi. I think I did the free one. I think there was a paid one, which was really surprising. I don't know how, like with how expensive these tickets are, they wouldn't give it to you for free. But it was like 4 MB, whatever, a second. And so it's like enough to text and maybe like go online for a second. But it's such a fast flight, 7 hours, that really you watch a couple movies, talk a little bit, film a little bit, and you're there.
So I don't know Emirates, but maybe you do. So I've done a couple of these flights. When you ate your food, was it a set menu, or was it like, for example, like Qatar? Qatar's like, we have a set menu, but you can order whatever you want. Was Emirates like that, or was it more restrictive, or was it just kind of a free for all?
Um, free for all. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. No, it was. I mean, how would you quantify a set menu? I mean, it had a set menu, but it was like 5 different things you can order from. So I guess I couldn't have asked for anything, but it was like of those 5 things, and there was like, I don't know, a vegan option, and there was a regular option. Um, for that, for drinks, and then for dessert, and then one other thing, but I can't remember what else it was. But I think did they have caviar in there? I can't remember if I saw that.
No
They might have.
way. No
I think
way.
maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I saw like I'm thinking on the right side of the menu. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. To be honest, I wasn't really impressed by the food. I didn't really care for it like at all. I didn't really like it. But I guess that's more of a testament to like food in the Middle East, that I would care about, because I love the Lufthansa food. That was amazing, German food. But yeah, I guess a set menu, but you could order like 5 different things. You know, and all those different things. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kept saying that because when we went to Qatar a while ago, and players who just kept ordering the butcher burgers, like just 2 butcher burgers, like just kept ordering the burgers, like so it's like
Oh,
they're like, oh, you don't want to eat the appetizer, main dish, no,
yeah,
just give me the burger. So that's why I mentioned that. There's some airlines that are very restrictive, and there are
yeah.
some that are just kind of like, well, you're in upper class, you can pretty much eat whatever you want. So that's what I wanted to make sure.
Oh, I would have loved that if they had actual true burgers, man. Like, that's why my experience at the Sapphire Lounge was so freaking good at JFK, because it's the first lounge I ever went to. You could order burgers, and 50 million of them if you want to. They'll never stop. That's huge. That's freaking huge, man.
All right, who we got here? We got my man Darius Jamal.
Darius, what's
Darius,
going
what's up
on?
going on, man? Appreciate you joining on the stream. We got
Killing
Cesar.
it.
Hit that like to support. Appreciate it. Yeah, so like I said, I think it's great. Like I said, Emirates, the bar, the experience, the service, it's always top notch. My question to you, I guess just to kind of end on a note, would you do 80,000 points again to fly Emirates business, or 100 plus for first class?
Um, I will say well, I guess two parts. I will say one easy answer is if the place that we're going has Emirates business, I probably would, yeah. Like if it was like a Newark to Athens, or for some reason we're going back to Milan, or I don't know, like a Paris to Dubai, or not Paris, something to Dubai. Like, yeah, I would probably, because I just imagine like how much cheaper could I really get for business? I mean, like the Lufthansa, we paid 70K per. I know you can get, like the Japan Airlines will be 60K per. I think there's some cases where you could do 50 depending on the routes. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, if I have to pay, 30K more or 20K more in some cases, or even 10K more in some cases, then I would, yeah, I probably would. The experience is just so nice. And if like you're gonna have a business class and I can opt to one that's like Emirates versus, I don't know, just some other one that might be a little bit lower end, but I could pay 10K more, yeah, I think I would. But if I get to go out of my way to go to a route, like again, like if I have to fly somewhere, would I opt to fly from Atlanta versus Newark just to do that? and there's like an equally decent business class flight, probably not. But if it makes sense, yeah, I would. I think so. Yeah, it was worth it. As much as it was high level service, and my wife was like, maybe we're not supposed to be here. I really did enjoy it, and it made life so much freaking easier for that trip. 100%. Yeah.
And just to confirm, like I said, it wasn't JFK, so that means you had to reposition. Was that also booked with points and miles, or was it just cash? Because I know there's domestic flight, their value may not be as great for a short haul flight from where you are. So,
Yeah, so I did so what I like to do is do a positioning drive first up to Charlotte. So my friend who lives here now, Daniel Sparks, he also has a YouTube channel. He actually drove us um up to Charlotte, and I booked a Delta flight with booked with miles. I think I had like, I forgot what it was. It might have been like 35K left over in my account, and I used that to book two one ways for my wife and I, actually in Comfort Plus, which was pretty cool. So Comfort Plus from Charlotte to JFK. So it must have been like 17K each, something like that, or maybe 20K each. Well, nothing too bad, but yeah, that's how I got there to JFK.
all right, Filmo apparently will never beat Filmo because apparently he did Italy, Norway, Morocco, and others in all in one day.
This is what I'm saying. I've been telling people this. I've been telling Filmo, like, what's the point? Why would I spend, millions of points of miles? Why am I going to waste my time traveling and going to foreign places? I could just go to Epcot in Florida, and yeah, I can go drink in 13 different countries, and but then go back to my, simple, humble hotel and Kissimmee, Florida, in my roadway inn. I mean, why are we going so hard for this? I remember being in China in Epcot, and I had a great time with them. It was a good time, and it was great alcohol. I remember being in Japan, and they gave me actual sake in the box, like with like some writing on it or names. Like it was a great experience. Real authentic people from those places, and I didn't have to leave the country. So yeah,
So
I agree.
before I shift over to my experience, so just tell the people, did you find it hard to book Emirates, and how early did you book it? I guess any advice who wants to do Emirates, was it too hard? How early did you book it? What was your experience? I've looked at Emirates, but I've never actually booked it. So,
So, and I love the way you're going through this too. This is like amazing. So, I will say shout out to Cody Little. He actually found this flight for me when I wasn't using Seats.Aero. It was before I got into all that. It was, maybe 7 months ago, something like that. Maybe longer, maybe 8 months ago now. I wasn't really in Seats.Aero, and then it changed my life once I did. He found this flight, and it happened to be right on, it was, I guess we would land right on our anniversary, my wife and I's anniversary. So I was like, that's it. There was a couple things to know with Emirates though. So one, obviously, yeah, Seats.Aero was the easiest way to just immediately find availability, and I've since found a lot of availability in other places just because I was curious. I went on Seats.Aero and find them. Doesn't seem to be too hard. I mean, you probably would know better as far as like when they release. I for some reason I really haven't felt like I saw some that were 6 months out. I saw some that were 9 months out. I saw some that were a year out. It didn't really seem as hard as like anything else. So maybe you could share that afterwards. But one thing I will say that scared me initially with Emirates is, well, there's two things I learned during that experience. One was I no longer do test transfers. I no longer will do a test transfer to these transfer partners. Like I had to transfer, like I said, it was like maybe 187,000 Chase points over to Emirates. Initially, I transferred 1,000, like we all, have done at some point. Like, oh, let's make sure the accounts are connected. But the issue is when you go to send the rest of them, the 186,000 points, if you do it right after the test transfer, it usually will trigger some sort of fraud sensor. And this is not just Emirates; it's actually a lot of other airlines too. But they have a fraud detection service in which now you're on a hold. The points are now locked on whichever side. I don't know actually where it's held, but it's locked for a few days before it actually transfers through. The average amount of time that I saw that it took for somebody to go from locked into your account, the Emirates account, was like, I think it was like 30 hours or like 32 hours or something like that. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I'm somebody who I'm like, this Italy trip I'm trying to plan. There's an Emirates flight that is like bucket list worthy, one of the best things ever. It's going to be right perfectly for our anniversary, and I can't actually book this flight for another probably 30 hours. So a day and a half, and I'm like, the plane's going to be sold out. I'm going to ruin all this. It's over. what I learned was, is you actually can call the airline, and this is true for some other ones, but specifically Emirates is one I did. Call them and say, hey, I have points coming into my account soon, but it's like locked or something. I just said it was like, it was a fraud thing or something. And I was like, can you hold the flight for me with points? Now, some airlines will hold flights to you, but just cash. Emirates is one of the few that I think allows you to do it with points. I think there's a few others, but I'm not sure which. And they said, yes, we can hold that flight for you with points for Emirates, and we could hold it for 72 hours, I think he said. 72 hours. So I'm like, whoa, I got 3 freaking days to get these points in. But then I actually heard some data points that took like a week. So I was like, man, I'm like, is it going to be 30 hours or 168? I'm like, what's going to happen here? So I had them hold the flight. And then sure enough, yeah, about 31 hours or 32 hours later, points came. And I called them up and I said, all right, my points in the account, can you book it for me, the hold that we had? And they said yes. And they immediately did it, gave me 2 seats next to each other, one way, and got it done. So I'm like, if there's ever a time where you do well, now I don't do test transfers. Now I just like, I make sure the numbers are right and I just send it through. But if there's ever a time you're like, oh, I might miss this redemption because my points aren't here, ask them to hold. And actually, I really don't even think that there's an issue with holding for 72 hours, calling up again and then holding for another 72. I didn't try it, but it seems like you could. Like talking to them, it didn't seem like there was any restrictions on like just continue holding it. I don't know how ethical that is, but if you have points that are coming in like Rakuten or something, maybe it's worth it. I don't know.
Yep, and we got Juan showing up. Appreciate Juan Garcia, another big supporter. So, yeah, I agree, Anthony. So, from my experience, I actually thought about doing your same flight or the Milan one, but I just couldn't cough up the 88,000 because I think the only way you can really book Emirates before the whole restrictability was usually through Aeroplan or Qantas.
Mm.
And I agree with, I think there was a little bit more availability for business just because the points are just so high. And I agree, they're all over the place. 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is. I think the thing that's harder to find is the first class, especially the A380s, because there's only 6 seats and it's only like 100, I want to say 130, 120, I don't know what it is. So those flights obviously are more aspirational because not only do you get the bar, you get the shower. And so I can see what you're saying. So I agree with what you're saying. And 88 for me, just seeing what out there, I think it's probably the ultra top end for business class, even especially for Europe, just because, like I said, you can find flights, as Luke mentioned the other day, 45,000 for Alaska to Aer Lingus. Or recently, I did a live yesterday, so for ANA, you can actually book United Polaris on ANA for 50,000 ANA miles. To me, that's the cheapest for United Polaris that I've found with all the star lines. And they don't impose the taxes. So you're paying to save $5.50. So I think if I were to do this, I'd do it for the one shot, get the shower, and that'd be it. 88,000 is a lot, but I understand you're never going to forget your first business class. Like I did Air France a couple of years ago. Was it awesome? Was it shower in the sky like Anthony mentioned? No, but it was that experience, the food, the lie flat seat, the service. It's just so different. I think I did it during a time with the transfer bonus, so I ended up paying like I think 50,000, each way from Atlanta to France and then Switzerland back. So.
And I will say, I didn't actually check, but I went into it knowing I might have the option to upgrade to first class. I didn't check when I got there because I didn't at that point I decided not to do it. But to upgrade, I think it's like an extra 39,500 points per ticket, so it would have been an extra like 79,000 to do first class. And I was thinking like, do I drain the rest of my Capital One miles to make this happen just to like make a crazy trip, even like a crazy flight, even crazier? Or, do I save them? I ended up saving it because I was like, I could better use those 70,000 for another, one-way flight somewhere down the line, or maybe 2 premium economies. You never know. But funnily enough, actually, when I was in the Hyatt in Florence, the Il Tornabuori, it's Cat 8, we were at breakfast, and shout out to Jim K. He gave me a guest of honor certificate, so we were globalists for those 5 nights. So we had free continental breakfast there, which was very nice, very good. It was like $45 a day technically if you paid for it. But while we were sitting there, this guy came up to us and he said, "Hey, I'm coming here to meet a celebrity." And he watched the channel for a couple of years or a few years now, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we did a bunch of these trips, or like your advice and some other people's advice." So we hung out and we talked for a little bit. But the reason I bring that up is we hung out at like the rooftop terrace. We had a good time. He was telling us the way he was flying home was actually first class Emirates. He was
Wow.
able to do it, and he sent me pictures after because I got his number of him with the not in the shower, but showing the shower and and all those different things. I was like, damn, I want to get on your level one day. So yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Hmm.
So yeah, Darius did mention it too. He always calls just to see it out, and I
Mm,
agree too. I think I don't know as much airlines, but I do know AA has been one of the best when it comes to holding flights. I know in the
mm.
past, if you didn't, you don't have to call them. You can literally just go online. And back in the day, if you found one of those flights, you could hold it up to 7 days.
Oh wow.
7 days. So, and that was
Huh.
probably nixed about a year ago. And then now it's you can either hold it for either 3 days or 1 day. So if you want to find those Japan Airlines flights, that's the best way. Like to find those first class flights, you're not sure you have the points.
Mm,
You hold it for a day or 3 days and then you book it. To my knowledge, on top of my head, AA is like right now the easiest one when it comes to holding flights. You don't even have to
mm.
call AA. You just go online, look for the flight, and if you don't have the points, you just hold it.
There's like a button that says hold flight or
Yeah, right before you
huh.
check out, like right before you check out, even after you choose your seat and everything, they're like, they say payment, they'll be like, at the end, they'll be like, do you want to hold this flight? So that was the thing AA had for years. I mean, you could hold it, I think a week was for a week. Now it's either 1 to 3 days, depending on the type of flight. And it's not all the flights do, it's certain flights. So you can't just hold any flight you want. It's the flights that they choose based on their code sharing, I guess.
And even if you don't have the miles in your account, you can get to that checkout page. Like if you don't
Yeah.
have,
Yeah, I've
oh,
done it at
really?
least two or
Interesting.
three times.
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting.
That's good to
We
know.
got Fun here. He'll segue into my
Fun.
flights. I'm not sure what he's asking. Anthony was there. Anything wrong with German's flights? Well, first of all, unlike Anthony, my flight to Greece was not in business. Actually, it was in economy, and this was booked February, so it was months. It's months in advance. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just thinking, hey, I can make it through
Oh God.
uh, 10 hours from Atlanta to Athens. I can make it. I think I was also hoping, with Delta, they give you those upgrade abilities. So
Yeah.
like I kept waiting, seeing if I could get a good deal. And at some point, I think within about 10 days, they pulled all the offers. So there was no more offers. So I was like,
Damn.
oh man. So now it's just
Uh,
the reality setting in. Was it great? I mean, I've flown Delta Economy in the past. Last time I flew was to Italy. It was fine. It's just, 10 hours with I think honestly I didn't even want to eat the food. Like I was telling
yeah.
people that the food at the Amex Lounge in Atlanta was better than the food on the plane. That's what I basically did.
Oh
I
yeah.
just ate the food on the Amex Lounge and I was like,
Yeah.
I saw the food and I was just like, yeah, this is just I don't know. It didn't look good. So 10 hours survive. I mean, I guess you had Wi-Fi with Delta. That's fine.
It's true.
And yeah, I made it 10 hours later. So that was my experience.
Damn.
I don't think there's anything really to talk about Delta economy. It is what it is. It's just trying to survive, I guess.
Hey, I'm with you though. I also did economy to Greece, at American Airlines. So it wasn't as long as 10 hours, about 7. Oh no, what am I saying? No, we flew to London in economy, so technically, and then we did another economy to Athens from there. But yeah, that's all right. I can't believe you did 10 hours. It's so much. That's so insane. How many people? I mean, do you have people next? Of course, you have people next to you, but do you have a window seat or something?
No, I had the middle seat. Like I said, I don't know what it is with Atlanta, but it's like I think I've told you in the past. It doesn't matter if it's a domestic flight going out of or coming in or going out to Asia or Europe. Every flight in Atlanta is filled. Every flight. It's
Jeez.
just like every flight is filled. It's like whether it's going to Qatar filled, going to Athens filled.
What?
It's just
Really?
like, did I have? I don't know. It's Delta. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, so I will
Was the
say though,
plane?
I did fly AA Prime Economy and like it was fine too,
Uh,
but my wife flew business and she said, and I'm just paraphrasing here, it is the worst out of all the legacy carriers. And she's done
Wow.
all of them too. She's done Delta, United, um, and what's the other one? AA now. So she's done all
Hmm.
the big three, and she said it's the worst. Like they're
Yeah.
not attentive, they don't care. The seat was okay, so
Yeah, I didn't like
um,
that AA flight to London. It was rowdy. Yeah, I didn't like it. I did not like it. 100%. Yeah.
so Anthony, you got to Italy. Your first stop was where?
So landed in Milan, had to figure out the train system. Got on the train, headed out to Lake Como. That was the first, yeah, the first true stop. We were gonna go to a hotel.
I'm disappointed too, and I'm pretty sure Luke was this week too, because he heard you went to Milan, but you actually didn't stay in Milan. I actually think Milan is one of the better cities just from
Wow.
the artistic, the cultural diversity and the food diversity. That's just my opinion.
Hmm.
And you said you went to Lake Como. Where did you stay? What was the best thing about being in Lake Como?
Um, so Lake Como was interesting. The trains to get there can be a little confusing at first, just because that was, well, at least for us, it was the first time we had tried out the train system. So we realized we had to take a train from the, and I talked about on Luke's how incredibly deceiving it is to find a train in the airport, the Milan airport. It's like actually impossible without asking somebody or knowing where it is. Like we had to. There was like a bunch of escalator or elevators that said, "Oh, the train's going up." Like it says "train up," arrow up. Come to find out, it's actually not up. It's down, and it's behind the elevators. You couldn't even see it if you were like, you have to literally walk all the way around to find that train. Like, oh, that's where the trains are. So like that didn't make sense at all, whatsoever. We were there for a good 15 minutes just looking around, like, okay, does anything make sense here? Um, so once you do that, then we had to do another train. We had to do the train ride to the central station, and then from there to Lake Como. One thing I also didn't what I found was that the platform will change, at least there changed within 5 minutes of departure. And I said, okay, cool. So we ran with the luggage, down the steps, then back up the steps to get to there, and then you would make it out there. Um, you asked what's the best thing about Lake Como. Well, well, that was getting there. The best thing about Lake Como was, yeah, once we again mistakenly walked the luggage all the way to the Hilton Lake Como. So we stayed there. It was about 100. I booked it. It was like 90K a night, and then I booked another night 100K a night. Um, for the Hilton Lake Como, best view, honestly, that we managed to see for that whole area. The rooftop pool has a great terrace where it's looking out over the lake. It's really amazing. I would definitely say that was the most fun, like getting to Lake Como and just being like, all right, getting to Hilton Lake Como and being drenched with sweat because we just walked from the train 20 minutes and it's like 85-degree weather. They offer us some water. They give us an upgrade to like a family suite where we had like a small balcony, but it was just like a courtyard view. They had some wine in there because it was literally our anniversary when we actually checked in there. And then just like in the nighttime, getting settled and walking to the nearby pizza place and just like waiting 45 minutes to get in, but then, eventually getting in for our first real like night in Italy. Um, and then walking back. Like I love that area because the next day you're able to walk anywhere. Like we walked to the lake shoreline, whatever you call it, saw some statues and walked all the way through to the other side of Lake Como and then all the way back for dinner that night. So I would definitely say best things about Lake Como are if you're in those areas, it's very easy to walk to anywhere you're looking for. So very good gelato out there, and there's not much to do. It's just basically a place where you land, you look at the sights, and then you hang out, at maybe the city center for a meal or back at the hotel, just hanging out at the rooftop pool or something. Yeah, Lake Como was cool. Definitely a little underwhelming, I would say. I mean, the views are cool, but I mean, how much can you really enjoy a view after like 2 days? Really, it's 2 days is max. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but let's move on. That's it was good to see. It was good to experience it.
So let's see here. Sleepy Rod says, trying to book any economy for
Hmm.
family. Yeah, I'm a peasant. How
That's-
rigorous are they on verifying your family relationship with the people you book for?
hmm.
I mean, I don't know if because, for example, me and my wife, we don't have the same last name, so I don't know if like you're saying that. Like,
Yeah.
They don't really have an issue with that. I've only said with ANA and some Asian airlines, the only thing I would say that's difficult, obviously, is the middle name thing. The ANA is one of the ones in Vietnam are the most rigorous airlines with the middle name. So if you have it, you need to put it. If you don't put it and you have it, they there could be issues with your ticket. So
Mm.
that's my only advice in regard for a verified family relationship. If you're all on the same reservation, there should be no issue really, to be honest, if you're booking at least ANA, in my experience. So
Mm. Good to know.
almost says, dang, 10 hours. I just barely made two. Well, I mean, sometimes
Get
you gotta do what
crazy.
you gotta do. I will say that flight, it was 30,000 Virgin Atlantic points, and it makes anyone feel better. I was checking continuously before my departure date. There was no more Virgin Atlantic availability, meaning you can only book that flight on Delta, and it was at 78,000 Delta Sky Pesos. So
Oh
it
wow.
makes me feel a little bit better that, I feel like I got
So
a good
cheap.
deal. Let's see, Caesar, I can do 6 hours in economy, even that premium or business. Well, yeah,
Hmm.
I could see that too. Let's see what we got here. Kevin says he's got over
Nice.
200K first class to Rome, but they want 500K per ticket.
Oh
Economy is
geez.
as low as 50K round trip plans for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I think Rome was one of the harder spots, I think, for business class. I think you
Yeah.
just don't have as much options. I think your options really, like I said, it's probably one of the legacy carriers, which are probably aren't great. You could do Emirates, and then I think you can do ITA as well, which is probably around 70 to 80,000 through Virgin Atlantic. But I know ITA is switching over, I think, to Star Alliance, so that might not be much better, to be honest. So
Yeah. Or Air France, I think, is what Spencer did. I think he had like a decent, maybe 170K total or something like that. I forget what he said. Maybe less.
and he probably had a layover in France too, right? They didn't go straight, right?
I don't know actually.
I'd be surprised if they went there directly, because usually, with Air France, they're going to land at their hub and then go to because I did the same thing. I did Atlanta, France, and then Zurich. So like,
Hmm.
but I mean, maybe he did.
I see. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I should ask him.
Apparently,
Hmm.
this is for Anthony. If you're going to fly to Narita Airport, which I don't remember if he is, you can need to get information before going to Tokyo. It could be costly if you take the ramp. Well, that is true. I mean,
I heard there's like a
Narita is about,
bus
yeah,
as
Narita is
well.
about an hour and a half from Central City.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can be costly. I mean, I've taken the Narita Express, which is I think the fastest way. It's about $15 a person. But if you obviously
Hmm.
take the regular bus or train, it will be even longer. So I don't know if he's referring to that part. But I mean, you just got to get to Japan, is my opinion. If you can get Narita, that's great. You can do Haneda, that's great too. But as you've researched already, like you just got to get there and you'll figure it out. I think it's much easier because, like I said, with Japan, when you leave Narita or Haneda, you can already get the train card if you want it, to be honest. And now I heard they're even doing everything through your phone. So Japan has
Hmm.
made it much easier compared to like Europe, which we can talk about
Yeah.
soon with the transportation. But I did want to say too, like, so the train system in Europe is very interesting because I was going to ask you. I know the central station, Milan Malpensia, is central station is far. Like the airport is far from the city. So I don't know how long your train was from the airport to central train, but I know the main airport is really far from the city. It's at least 40-ish minutes away from the center. It's a far train ride for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we didn't really know how it worked for the most part. So we just hopped on a train. I can't remember if that was the one I paid for. No, I don't think I paid for those. Actually, yeah, I don't think I paid for that. No, I didn't. I just hopped on. I didn't really know how it worked. I asked some guy. He was like, "So you're going to Milan Central? Then get on this one." I was like, "All right, I think this is where we go." So yeah, it was like probably you're right, probably about 40 minutes where we just stood up with our luggage, just standing against the door, not against the door, but like the side where there's a little screen here. We just took that straight, just standing all the way there, and then from there transferred to the next train for Lake Como. Yeah, it's definitely confusing at first. Once you learn how to read it, you realize okay, there is a method to it. That's the one thing I really wanted to urge for anybody that was going to Italy. It's like the only things you really have to keep track of are uh, not even so much where you're going. I mean, obviously where you're going, but like when you look at the screen where it's like, okay, this departing Milano Central Station, going to all these different places. If you're trying to go to Rome, it might not say Rome. It might actually, the train that you're actually supposed to go on might say, I forget the
It's like
name of it. It's like,
it's like
and
Roma Termino. Roma Termino is the central station.
well, yeah. But the thing is, it won't actually say on the screen like, "Oh, we're going to Rome, Termini." It's going to, I forget the name of it. There's some place with an N that's like much more south, not Naples, but it's another like really far south. And you realize like, oh, actually, the train that's the last stop of the train. It's only going to show
Yeah,
you this to the first stop to the last stop. So you have to realize like, okay, your stop is probably not going to be listed there unless you're going to the end of, the end of the station. So you really have to look on your ticket to see what's the train number and the train type. It's going to be Trenord or it's going to be, Frecciarossa, and it's going to be like, is it a high-speed train? Is it 9415? Okay, 9415, that's the train. Okay, that's the one I get on. But you could have the same number too. It could be a 9415 Trenord and 9415 Frecciarossa. So you have to make sure it's the right train, the right number. And then when in doubt, you could always ask them. They're actually very helpful there. Everywhere except for Milan, they were very helpful with like finding out trains and stuff like that. So um, once they did that, then we were like, okay, now we pretty much understand where we're supposed to be headed, or where we're going. But definitely confusing at first, a little very tough initially, I would say.
how
Mm.
was the train ride? Was it pretty manageable in terms of like time and distance? And was it did you do a transfer, I guess?
To just Lake Como, you mean, like
Yeah.
initially? Yeah, so we had to do a transfer. Well, one, yeah, from the airport to the central station, and then from the central station to San Giovanni Como. I mean, it was very manageable. It's about 2 hours total, so like 40 minutes to Central Station and then another hour, maybe hour 15 to Lake Como, with like 7 different stops in between. So yeah, I would say it was timing wise. Yeah, I mean, basically every train we took, aside from the small ones, like from Lake Garda to Verona, which was like 15 minutes, they all basically took 1 to 2 hours to get done. Between transfers and figuring out what we're doing and getting on and off. Yeah, I would say.
Apparently, this is for Anthony. Did you take ferries at Lake Como area?
So that was the one place I didn't take ferries. We were planning on it, and then we walked to where the ferry was. There's one port, so I actually think it's way easier probably to get on there after looking at it versus like Lake Garda, which we took a lot of ferries. We didn't end up doing it because honestly, just having 2 days in Lake Como and being utterly exhausted from all the travel, we were like, I can't see myself getting on a ferry and going to this new place right now. And even though, like, we kind of felt it was going to be similar to Greece, where the surrounding islands like Hydra and Aina and one other place, they were like kind of boring to be honest. Like the ones surrounding Athens, like it really wasn't a point in us going there. Quiet, and I was like, I think it's going to be a lot more of just like cool sights and then walking around. We weren't really into it, so we decided against it to do the ferries to like Verona and Bellagio. We just didn't think it was worth it at the time. And then we actually spoke to some people who are from Georgia who were out there, and they were like they liked it, but they were like, yeah, it is basically how you describe. You walk around, and then you come back, and we just didn't have it in us, unfortunately. But it seemed it was fairly easy there. It seemed like there is a little bit easier than Lake Garda, actually, which
So
is a
after
pain.
Lake Como, what was your next stop? Take another train?
So, so from Lake Como, we were going to take a train initially. I was supposed to do Lake Como, San Giovanni to Lugano in Switzerland, the Paradiso stop, which is close to the hotel we had booked, which is the View in Lugano. But again, I like to optimize for sometimes ease of use instead of saving money. And it does burn me a lot, but sometimes it does make life a little bit easier. And I was trying not to be a penny pincher on this trip. So instead of like taking a quick taxi and taking the train to Lake Como, we ended up taking a taxi directly to Switzerland from our hotel in Hilton Lake Como. I did, before I learned this was before I learned the taxi system, and I knew I could just like go in there and haggle with them, which I eventually learned to do in Italian while I was on this trip. But this was before all that, where I used Uber to see what would happen because we did that in Greece, and it was like obviously it's not actually an Uber, it's just a taxi drive, taxi company. So they had somebody, Uber lied to me. They were like, oh, it's about 70, 80 euros. I was like, that's fine, whatever. Um, when I actually talked to the guy, he was like 120, and then he actually was right because after I looked at it after the fact, and like every other place that I got quoted, it was like more than that. It was like 140, 150 when I talked to the hotel. So I was like, that's fine. So we did 120 euro to drive like 35, 40 minutes to Lugano, which honestly was not worth it. I should have just stayed in Lake Como. I should have never went to Switzerland. But again, it's a lesson. It's a learning lesson. It was a story. So yeah, that's what we did next. To taxi all the way there to Switzerland.
I mean, 120 isn't terrible if they counted you as total. Lots of times in Europe, what they'll be is like, oh, so 120, 120 per person. I'll be like, even though we're in the same car, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you got 120 euro, I don't think it's as terrible. I mean, like when I did
Yeah.
my airport transfer, they're like 15 euro per person, and I'm like,
Jeez.
but but you're not burning. I mean, it's two
The
people.
weight.
Yeah, I guess you're burning more gas because there's two people in the car. So
I guess I was used to like for the same drive to go from our hotel in Athens back to the airport, it was like 50 euros. And I was like, for the same type of drive and to the airport, which is usually more expensive. So I was comparing it to the cheapness of Greece, I think. But yeah, I guess you're right. That wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad.
so how did you like Lugano, Switzerland then?
Um, So I didn't think it was worth going to. I think it was worth seeing and getting experience, but just like I think it would have been more worth it had we just like did one or the other. Like went to Lugano or went to Lake Como. I think we would have gotten similar experiences. I do think Lake Como looks nicer and it's easier to move around in. But Lugano is also a very nice place. The only reason it would have been a little bit easier is there's a direct train from Milan Central Station to Paradiso on the Lugano side, and that was like 5 minute drive to the hotel we were staying at. So that would have been easier if we had stayed there first and then went to Lake Como and then moved. But the award availability wasn't there, unfortunately, to make it happen that way. Um, and so I thought it was okay. Like obviously Switzerland's a little expensive, using Swiss francs over there, but it's still the Italian region there, so we're speaking Italian. Um, but it just didn't really seem like there was anything else. It was just another place to look around, see the sights, and then whatever. Like it's like whatever. Honestly, after a day, it's like all right, we can move on.
I'm not gonna lie, my time in Switzerland, while it was very beautiful, it was like I think after day two, we're like, we're just gonna eat a cup of noodles for dinner. It was just a cup of
Yeah,
instant noodles. It is crazy there. I mean, even if you're on the Italian side, I can imagine the Swiss francs are like
yeah.
just like, can I just not eat or something?
Yeah, it didn't help that our hotel had a Michelin star restaurant on site. I mean, obviously all self-imposed problems, but things you don't fully think about until you get there, which I have learned since, and I'm adjusting future trips for all this. But yeah, just all expensive. I mean, that was a cool hotel too. I mean, the view, Lugano, one of the best redemptions I ever made. It's definitely like 1.2 cents per point Hilton points, and I used a free night as well. Great room, probably the best room we've ever been in. Just like high tech and cool looking and an awesome view, literally. It has a few amenities, but they make you pay for a few other ones. I don't know. And now they've devalued it a bit now, so it's like 150K a night, and it's about $1,500 a night cash price. So it's still a good redemption, but I think go there, you're going to hang out at the hotel. If you're gonna go there, just stay at the hotel. Go do some nightlife down below, 5 minute Uber, but nothing crazy.
All right, we've got a question from Sleepy Rod. We can kind of put our opinion both on this one. I know Anthony, you're kind of in the midst of planning it. I can tell
Yeah.
you my experience that flying to Narita is easier than Haneda, just because of the main
Hmm.
fact right there. It's Narita's farther,
Hmm.
hour plus. Haneda is 30 minutes by train, 15 minutes by car, and it is mainly about the cost. Like
Hmm.
if you do an Uber from like Narita to the center city, it's probably gonna cost you almost $100.
Hmm.
If you do an Uber from Haneda Airport to the center, maybe 40, $50. So
Hmm.
it's just, to me, like I said, finding the flights for Japan upper class is already hard enough. So even if you're there for the first time or the fourth time, I don't honestly care because one, the transportation in Japan is so good and it's
Hmm.
so competitive. So if you can get Haneda, that's fine. If you get Narita, that's fine. So I wouldn't worry about that now. I mean, just because, as Anthony mentioned, right, you're going to go on vacation, you're going to spend money, you're going to have a budget, and you just kind of got to put it in your budget. So that's my
Hmm.
advice. Being in Japan last 3 times now,
Hmm.
but I don't know if Anthony, you have anything else to add other than what I just said. I mean,
No, I don't really know yet, but I would just ask you, like, at least for me or a few other guys, trying to prioritize Japan Airlines business class. Do you think it's easier? Is it similar availability for? I see more Narita than Haneda, but do you think there's a difference there?
yeah, I think you're definitely going to see more Narita. Like I said, it's just there's just I think in general there's probably this either a little bit more or same amount of routes, because Japan Airlines has JFK, San Francisco, LA as the main ones, but then Narita has Boston, has Chicago. Chicago has for both at Chicago. There's Vancouver. So there's a little bit more. And I just feel like some of the spots are just not as ideal compared to spots you leave from to Haneda. So you're going to find a little more like even has San Diego there too. So like there's a lot more flights coming out of the US or North America to Narita because it is the old airport. It's the bigger airport, it's the old airport.
Hmm.
So you're going to have more flights from America versus Haneda where you're going to only have a certain amount. But yeah, I would agree that you're going to find easier for Narita. So
And did you say like a taxi ride from there to the main Tokyo area is like $30, $40? Is it really that
from
cheap?
from Haneda, it's about $40, $50. I mean,
Oh,
it's I wouldn't use a taxi there either. I feel bad to say, and whoever's a taxi driver there, I feel really bad to say this, but taxi drivers everywhere, including America, are just it's just bad. I mean, they
really?
know you're a tourist and they're going to inflate the price. So I know my wife did an Uber. I think it was like 40-ish bucks, whereas I can imagine taxi is not going to be 40 bucks from Haneda to the central city.
Hmm.
But I can tell you Narita will definitely be more expensive just because it's an hour away from the city. So
Yeah. Interesting. Good to know. I figured it would do what you said, the Narita Express. It seemed like an easy thing, but yeah, I'm not sure yet.
let's see. Fun says be careful of the ferries in San Francisco. I definitely will.
Yeah,
Here's a
man.
good one here, actually,
Careful.
from Gentleman. All trains work like that, just in the Grand Central. I totally agree.
Hmm.
And I wanted to let Anthony know that it will be way more different and efficient in Japan.
Hmm.
I can just tell you from my experience, I did, like I said, I've been to Europe, my last trip in Scandinavia, I did the whole train transfer to bus or
Oh no.
bus to train. So it's just, whereas if you've been in Japan, it's most of the time a straight shot
Hmm.
because they have the high speed. Whereas Europe says they have a high speed train and I couldn't find one to save my life apparently. So I totally agree with what you said there. Like I said, there's Europe, you're always going to have at least one transfer. You will find some direct ones. I know Rome and Milan have a direct one. I
Yeah,
know for a fact because I did the direct one. So
that's
the
what we do.
major
Yeah.
cities, yes. The smaller ones, not so much. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that's good to know. I mean, I grew up in New York and used those trains, but I never actually fully learned them. So maybe I'm just maybe I would have had more experience had I actually used the trains more in Manhattan, definitely.
yeah, I think
Hmm.
Mike Moon makes a good point here. I think this
Yeah.
also applies when you're, especially with traveling with somebody. It gets a little bit harder, as Luke
Yeah.
mentioned too, that you're trying to do these aspirational hotels.
Oh wait, you cut out. Michael Wong. Oh, he'll be back. So I'll take over. Um, yeah, I agree. Oh, is Mike back? Can I hear? I can't hear you
Yeah,
yet.
so
Oh, there
I
we go.
agree. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think we both experienced it recently. Like we try to do these awesome flights and awesome hotels, and then sometimes while we're so overly excited, we're kind of doing it at the expense of our partner. And like I said, you're using your SLH or FNCs, and it's great, but then after what, 2 days, 3 days, one
Yeah.
day, you're kind of moving on to the next adventure, and it can be, especially for you if you're taking a big check-in luggage. Europe is not the place to be when it comes to transit time. It's horrible. I mean, the stairs, the lack of elevators, you're just dragging that.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad we were able to somehow do 2 weeks and a day in just carry-ons. I had two backpacks, two carry-ons. We were able to make it work. It was stressful. We're never gonna go that long again, so we're never. Well, now we know what the limit is for like carry-on, and it's a lot easier to like I carried the carry-ons literally throughout the streets of Italy, in most places. So yeah, but I agree. That's why I'm like, I think I really need to maybe really think hard about Kyoto because I had booked it before I had learned the lessons of Italy. So I have, 2 nights in an SLH. I have one night at the Park Hyatt in Kyoto. I'm hoping for a second night. And then I have one other, hotel in the Mitsui, Marriott property. Because I wanted to hit all three. I wanted to hit like an SLH, a Hyatt, and a Marriott. But now I'm like, maybe I should cancel that Marriott. I don't know. And maybe if I could get lucky enough, get 2 more nights in the Park Hyatt or just one more night and do 4 days only in Kyoto and then go back to Tokyo. So I'm not still working through that, need advice on that. I'm not sure. But I hate the hotel hopping. Yeah, it's the worst. It's really the worst.
So, Anthony, you did some nights at Hilton. You went to Lugano. Where did you go next?
So after that, we had to take a train from Lugano to Milan Central Station again, and then from Milan Central Station down to Peschiera del Garda, so Lake Garda down there, which is actually the biggest lake in all of Italy, which is interesting. And Lake Garda is an interesting place. It's my wife described it as it seems like the place that Italians go to vacation. Not necessarily, I mean, there's obviously a lot of Americans, foreigners, and stuff like that, but it seems like it's mostly a place where Italians go to vacation. And we felt that. Our specific town that we went to is called Torre del Beneco, and it's fairly north up the lake. Definitely don't. I recommend it because I think it actually is probably one of the best towns you could stay in, but getting there is it's such a pain. I mean, it's about a 90 to a 120 euro taxi ride to go from the train station to there. And once you get there, there's not many options to move around. Like there's one bus and it comes every hour, and I think that's okay. We never ended up doing that. And there's a ferry port, but there's only 2 times of the day you can catch the ferry from here, as opposed to like Garda or Bardolino, which is 2 towns over, which would you can catch a ferry every half hour. You can find one fairly often, but from our town, Tori, yeah, two ferries to go to all the other villages per day, and if you miss those, you're done. You're pretty much locked there. So I think if you have a rental car, Lake Garda becomes way easier. I think that's the only place. If I had a rental car, it would have made life so much easier. That's definitely what I recommend. Again, it was cool to see. The first day there was unforgettable. We made it all the way to our hotel, and it's a little boutique place. So this was interesting because I booked it through the Chase Travel Portal. It was like 70,000 UR, like $1,100 cash price. I booked with the Chase Portal with my Sapphire Preferred 1.25, nothing crazy. Um, the hotel was a boutique hotel. What was it called? I'm already forgetting the name of it, but we booked it to where it gave us like the breakfast for free and stuff like that. But it's literally just overlooking Lake Garda, like it's on the water. You take one step out of the hotel, you see the entire lake. It's actually pretty magical, and it's old school. Like you go in there, it's like wooden doors, and they have these wooden shutters to block out the sun or open up. And we looked out of our balcony window, and we could see the lake right there. That was a lot of fun. And I felt like that was some of the best care we got taken care of, like best service from a hotel was at that boutique one there. They also gave you a voucher for every day that you were there. We were there for 4 days, 10 or 15% off your meal. If you ate at the hotel restaurant, which again is on the water, like it's a pier on the water. So we did that a couple nights and saved a good amount of money doing that. And they actually had some of the best food we had on the trip, thus at that point. But again, it's just yeah, the transportation getting there is a hell of a pain. And I try to do my due diligence. I looked online for hours, for hours and hours. I studied the bus schedule. I even emailed the hotel like my concerns, and they made it seem like it was fine. When you were there, it really wasn't that fine. It was more uh, headache. It was a lot of headache, but we had a lot of magical times. Like that first day we got there and we're just hanging out. We had a little bit of wine because they gave us free wine. There was actually a special event. It seems like a once a year thing called Carnival. And all of a sudden, they had people dressed in like medieval garb walking through because there's a castle there. It's actually a castle that we toured, and we got a crazy view of Lake Garda. They were all coming out, music. It was like an hour plus of just like a caravan of music, and then at the end of the night, they had fireworks, huge fireworks display. It was like honestly out of a movie. Looking back, that was one of the best nights we had in Italy. Was that Carnival night? Just hanging around, walking around the streets of Torre, good time. But yeah, the taxis to and from are so expensive. It's such a pain, and you really can't get anywhere from that town. So if I have to recommend, stay near the train station in Pescara. It's not the nicest area, but I mean I think it's good. Or a town a couple down like Garda or Bardolino, where you could actually have easier transport for sure. So yeah, that was the next place. Yeah.
And then it sounds like you finished off your last stop in Rome, right?
Well, then from Lake Garda, we went down to Florence and we did 5 nights there in the yeah, it was
5 nuts.
it was crazy
Wow.
trip. It was too much. It was too much. But again, I'm glad to do it because now I know what our limits are. I know what's possible. Um, I won't. It was very stressful. The entire trip was very stressful. I'll be honest. There was really good nights, really good things to look back on. In hindsight, it's very nice, and we think about it. And it's like we forget the bad, but yeah, that long and that many experience like trips, like it would have been so much better if we just flew into Rome, a few days, like 2 days there, 3 days there, and then Florence for 5 nights, and then went home. Like that would have been perfect. I'm glad I did the other things, but for this trip it was too much. So yeah, then we did to Florence. I booked it when it was a Cat 7, the Il Tornabuoni. Now it's a Cat 8. It got devalued, or I guess upgraded. So now it's about 45K a night. I paid about 35K a night, and then a couple nights were suites. So it was like 50K a night because I just wanted to see. That also was pretty magical. That hotel is the best hotel we ever stayed in thus far, I would say. It was like the level of service, how easy it is to, like the location was perfect. You could walk to anywhere in Florence from that location. Um, Free waters galore. As a good American, we always want water. Free, insane amount of free water, glass bottles. Um, the breakfast was pretty cool. Like one thing I learned on this trip was managing your wife's like hunger. I realized women, after a few hours, they really have to eat. So, the breakfast at that place, since we had globalists for the stay, that 45 € complimentary breakfast was definitely clutch. Um, and oh yeah, one thing that was magical about that is our first night that we got there, we walked into our room and we had a suite for the first night. It's big, it's really nice. I wish I could show you. But we have these huge, giant, windows that you can open, a little lever where you pull it down and then you open it up. And it's not like America where the windows only go like halfway. Like this is a full window that you can, put your whole body out and look. But it was crazy. We got there, we opened the window, and somebody's singing in like opera singing. Ave Maria, like Ave
Hmm.
Maria. We're just looking out. We're literally looking at the piazza right there outside of the hotel, watching this guy sing. I was like, wow, this is a movie. This is absolutely a movie. Until you realize that guy's out there every night, uh, doing the same thing every night. But when you first land there, it's very enchanting, and you're like, wow, very cool. And like 1 block away is the main with this. It's not Ponte Vecchio. It's not the old bridge, but it's the original bridge, or at least the oldest one. It's another bridge that takes you to the other side of Florence, which is cool. But yeah, that's one of the best hotels. Florence, one of my favorite cities. I would go back just for Florence for a couple days and then go somewhere else, honestly.
So my question is, when I've been to Italy, knowing you're staying that many nights in one place, was there an opportunity maybe to what you talked about with Luke, was kind of use Florence as a base and
Yeah.
maybe see if you can travel to a neighboring town or city? Was that a possibility you thought about, or you just said, hey, I've done this taxi thing and train thing, I'm kind of just not really feeling, I'm just gonna kind of just relax.
By that point, we were very tired and we kind of just wanted a home base to hang out in. But 100% that hotel, well, really Florence in general, but from that hotel, just because I know how awesome it was, that would have been a perfect home base. In fact, what we're going to do is probably go back there, stay a few nights, and yes, use that as a home base for, get to go to the same restaurants we went to last time, which were like magical, good stuff. But you can do some tours from Florence that'll take you to Pisa to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is really a 2 hour trip. Siena and San Germano, I forget the actual term, but it's a couple vineyards where you can do some wine testing and see kind of the countryside. So 100% that's in our plans. It's also, I think, not a bad spot to land and to have as a home base, just because when you go from there, you can take a direct train from Florence straight to Venice. So if like Venice is on someone's trip, which I think even though we know kind of how it might be, she still wants to see it. So we both want to see it. So I think Florence, do a couple days, go around, do a Vespa tour. Sure, you could do a Vespa tour. We might do that next time we go, and then take a direct train to Venice, spend like a couple nights there. Come back to Florence, something like that. But yeah, I definitely think it's a good landing point to go some neighboring cities in that area and some vineyards. I mean, most people want to go there for vineyards, so it's a good spot for that. It's very close to many of them out there.
Yeah, I
Um,
enjoyed my time in Florence. I was there for I think 2 days about 5 years ago.
hmm,
Kind of did the same thing. We did the Florentine steak. It was amazing.
it's great.
We found David. He was everywhere. That was fun. So yeah,
Yeah,
I thought out of all the places I've been to, mainly Rome, Florence, and Milan, the big cities, like I felt Florence was definitely just the most easiest, and it was just felt as more authentic than the other ones. Obviously, Milan
yeah,
can't really be authentic, just too much diversity, culture. And then as we segue into Rome, Rome is I guess I could never find my way out of felt like there was just nothing authentic there. Like the food, I know people are gonna hate me for this, but I just felt like you just kept getting the same type of food everywhere. It was
yeah,
pasta, bread, the rice balls,
yeah.
and you, I don't know, you just couldn't find the true identity of Rome outside the Colosseum, Forum, and Palatine Hill. Like it was, you know, I don't know. It's a great city, but yeah, I mean, I think you do 2 days there, and then you go explore other
Yeah.
places.
100%. No, I totally agree. And it's bad because everyone looks forward to it and stuff like that. But honestly, the real deal is, like I said, I mean I know it now. Like in my heart. I traveled almost the entire country outside of, Naples. Went from the north all the way to Rome. Naples is a new trip. Sicily, we got to do that in the future. But all right. North to the south. There was no food that I cared about at all outside of Florence. All the rest was honestly pretty trash. I hate to say it, pretty trash. Rome was like second best. Florence was the best. The Florence steak was the best steak we ever had. The best carb meals, so like some sort of a pizza or pasta, stuff like that. That was the best in Florence. Like Florence is the food place, hands down, and everybody knows it and everybody says it. North, they don't know what they're doing. It's terrible. I hate to say it. Rome, it's second best. I mean, yeah, I like the rice balls. I think they were cool. The sopalis. Um, Pizza was slightly better than the North, but yeah, it's just, yeah, it's honestly, and some people I saw on Luke's live, you're like, oh, you must have went to tourist traps. Like, no, no, I have avoided all of them. In fact, the funny thing was, I said off camera, the one tourist place that we did go to, pretty much on the entire trip, was in Rome during a tour because he just liked the area, and that food was better than most other places in all of Italy, outside of it. So maybe it's an American palate, something like that. I don't know, but again, with the caveat that Florence had amazing stuff. Like man, I missed it. I miss it to this day. Going to I used to watch Conan O'Brien many years ago on YouTube, and I still watch. He went to a specific shop that this guy Jordan Slansky, was his executive producer, would take him to in Florence. It was this little place. I'm forgetting the name of it. Not Il Moralino. I forget the actual name, but it's a sandwich shop where you can go and get they call it paninos, but it's a little like bread and then some meats and some cheeses. It was like ham and mozzarella cheese basically, and like getting that every single day and walking around eating that and moving to our next destination, or just I remember sitting outside of the Duomo, with my wife, just like looking at the Duomo and just eating the salad. Like those are the good times that I remember. And that food was amazing. I wish I can get that now. Actually, I think I probably can, but being there is different. you know. Hmm.
Yeah, and so let's see here, somewhat related to what we're talking about. Sleepy Rod says, if do rest brew, if you close some inks or chase business cards and try again, it seems like
Hmm.
the inkling is still in effect, baby.
Damn.
I guess, I mean, I don't have enough to close. I have the preferred and the cash. and I don't think I'd be closing those anyway because I actually use those cards. I don't know about you, Anthony, but I mean, I guess if you have like four of them, maybe you can close maybe one of them, but I'm not
Yeah,
in the business of closing mine.
I have four of them, so I think I am gonna. I'll try it. I've been hearing this more recently. I think I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna try to close because I have two unlimiteds and two cashes. So I think I'm gonna try to close maybe one of each, one cash, one unlimited, and then I'll try it again. That would be sick, man. If I can get my chase points back, oh my God, that'd be great.
So Mike is really getting ahead of it, but we're going to talk about this soon. But if you look back, would you rent a car knowing what you know now? I mean, so here's my one detail about this. I think renting a car is great. I know our Ian is a big fan of renting cars. The problem with renting cars with a lot of hotels, chains, unless you're a globalist, which you were apparently a lot, is that if you're not a globalist at a lot of these hotel chains or Hilton or Marriott,
Yeah.
they usually start charging you parking fees. So I don't know if you saw a lot of those. That's the only thing I have against cars. If you start thinking about it, like those fees will start adding up, especially if you stay. Obviously, for your global stays, it didn't matter, but non-global stays like the Hilton Golds, they might have charged parking fees if there was allowable. That's the only thing I have against renting cars. But I know it can be easier. I don't know what you think about that. That's the thing.
Looking back, I think because I was actually doing the math on it too. I was thinking how much I would have paid for the car rental for that entire time versus um, you know, yeah, versus just all the taxis and trains and stuff that I took. And I actually think I spent just a little bit more on taxis and trains. Like just like a Actually, I mean, if I factor in I didn't really factor in the garage, like putting in a garage or a parking lot or something like that. Um, I probably was about break even. I think I probably spent the same amount I would have spent on the rental car, but I didn't have to worry about getting a car to two garages or I wouldn't have driven in Florence. My wife we would have freaked out. It just would have been too much driving in Rome, especially since I can't even drive in some of these areas because it's the non-tourist driving areas. So I think the price was basically the same, but I didn't have to worry about handling the car. The only exception is, yes, if I had perfect, omnipity, hindsight, I would have maybe if I was really thinking far ahead, I would have rented a car in Lake Garda. I think that would have made life a little bit easier. But even then, not really. I don't know. Because I know that hotel has a complimentary garage, I believe, and they could take you there, and because I was planning on it. But yeah, other than Lake Garda, it wouldn't have been worth it. I think it would have been way more stressful than it was worth, personally.
So
Yeah.
Kevin, I disagree with you here. I still think you should always go here,
Yeah.
regardless of me and Anthony's negative reaction. It's still a place you should go to. I think we're trying to tell you is that don't stay there like 5 nights, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I think.
go there,
Yeah.
day or two, whatever it is, see the Colosseum, and then go explore Florence, Naples, Venice, Verona. There's so many cities. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's what we're saying basically. You should
I
go there,
think.
just don't stay there 5 nights or 6 nights or whatever.
Yeah, and I think part of my slight disdain for the North is because when you land in Italy, like we expected it to start doing stuff. Obviously, I could have thought to myself, oh, obviously those two places are not places you go and do things like Como and Legarda. But I guess you don't really fully know until you do things. So going into it, and she said this as well, like had we landed in Rome initially, I think we would have had a better time because we'd been like, all right, we're here, we're energetic, we're ready, let's go do all the crazy stuff. And then the end of the trip, do the calm stuff and hang out. So in the reverse, it would have been a lot nicer. And I agree with Mike. Yeah, just like I think 2 days in Rome is enough. Granted how late you get in the first night, max three, I think, but I didn't really think the Vatican was worth it. Sistine Chapel, I mean, it was cool, but it's like that's the only thing that's air conditioned, and the rest it's 100 degrees and like you're packed like sardines. I didn't think the Vatican was worth it. It was actually fairly empty for most of it, um, like nothing really crazy. I'm trying to be pretty realistic. Like I get the glamour of certain things, and seeing the Colosseum was cool. In fact, the most fun I had in Rome, outside of seeing Spencer Johnson, was actually recording the platinum video outside of the Coliseum. Like that was fun, like having that in the background. And when you go to the Coliseum, it's cool. But it's you see it and then you leave. It's like an hour of hanging out and then you leave. I think go there to see those things. I think is important. Yeah, I think definitely go to Rome because actually, like I said, we had a couple nights where we got food in. We stopped wanting to go out because it's too much, and I found this little local spot that was like 3 blocks, or actually about 6 blocks from the hotel. Really cool guy. I was speaking Italian to him, and he gave me some free pizza, and then I brought her the next day, and he gave us some other stuff. It was like it was fun. It was fun doing that, but it's very hard to find non-tourist places. In fact, I thought it was impossible to find a place that wasn't touristy in Rome. Like I walked for like miles. I walked away from where tourists would be. There was still like tourist areas, like food, like
So,
pictures of the food and all that. And come on in, come eat. You know, that's not the place. Hmm.
so let's compare. So I stayed in Rome 2 years ago. I did 2 nights at the Curio Lab. I think it's somewhere near like I think the business area of Rome. And then I did 2 nights at the Bambino, which was at high SLH back in the day.
Hmm.
And my strategy at that time was I think I just wanted to kind of go wowish with the Curio, which it was a nice property. It was fine. It was very nice. The room was just super small.
Hmm.
Breakfast was okay. It was buffet style. I mean, location was fine. It was fine. I chose the second one where I stayed 2 nights at the Bambino. To me, my strategy, and we can talk about this going further, is that I try to look for hotels that are a little bit more centralized. And so the Bambino was about 15 minutes walking from anywhere.
Hmm.
So all the attractions except Vatican, because we all know the Vatican is on the west side over the river. So there is no
Yeah.
hotel that you can go, like in general, to be in the central of all the attractions because the Vatican is just so far west. And I agree with Anthony. I am a Christian too, but even the Vatican is just it's not even it's a museum. It's a show.
Yeah.
Like you don't get any type of exposure. Yes, you can do the extra excursion of going to St. Peter's and all that stuff, and everything. You can go down to the ruins and the basilica, even though St. Peter's is free, by the way.
Hmm.
St. Peter's is free if you can get there at 5 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if you go there for a prayer, you can actually get in there for free, get in there easy too. But
Hmm.
I agree with everything you said, and that was my strategy as we segue because Rome was just it's kind of hard to go from the Colosseum, which was a 20-minute walk, and then
Yeah.
you go to Trevi,
Hmm.
and I think Trevi lately now has been. When I went 2 years ago, there was no barricade, which I think there's a barricade now.
Yeah,
I
there
literally could
is.
go to the fountain and like touch the water,
Oh wow.
whereas I think now there's a barricade and it's almost like a stadium. There's like seats and everything or something like that. So,
Yeah, that
ah,
was
yeah.
very busy, very, very busy. I'll just say, I think, I don't know, media, movies definitely set an unrealistic expectation for certain areas. Maybe not that. I think the areas are really nice, but uh, with the advent of media, there's just so many people like all throughout all throughout the year. Every month it seems like there's this million. Like you could look right now if you go on Trevi Fountain. There's like a video camera live recording constantly, and you can see how many people are there. If you look right now, there will be a ton of people, and it's like 9 o'clock at night. You'll see a ton of people hanging out all around there. It was like constantly packed to the point where we were like, why are we even? What's the point? You see it really real quick. Oh, very nice. And then you move on. But you're right. Yeah, as far as positioning, I did like our hotel, so I booked the Palm Suite. It's actually the sister property to the Palazzo Manfredi. They did give us the option for like 20 € per person to go and eat breakfast at the terrace restaurant that's overlooking the Coliseum, but we decided not to. SLH 100,000 Hilton Honors points per night. If you have gold status, you'll get complimentary breakfast to your room, which is like insane. It's like this like a huge tray of breakfast that has like everything, well, everything. Like Italian breakfast is just like a croissant and a cigarette, so you get stuff like that. Orange juice, all that. But I liked it because it was, yeah, like a 1 minute walk to the Coliseum. But again, it's hard to be in a place that's like near everything. Spanish Steps was like 20 minutes. Trevi was about 10, 15. Yeah, Vatican taxi, $20 taxi to get all the way there. Takes like a half hour. Yeah, it's tough, but I like that hotel. It's quiet. It's not crazy busy at all. It's a little unassuming street, and you actually can get some of the best pictures with the Coliseum because there's less people there. But it's also if you walk like a couple more steps, that's also where the scammers are with here. Hey, where are you from? Oh, where are you from? Texas? What's up? And they try to give you some bracelets, and they say, oh, it's totally free, and it's like, oh no, it's for my family. Can you please give me something for my son? All that stuff. So we didn't get caught up in that nonsense, but.
I will say, so my strategy was exactly what you said. We got into Rome first, and like I said, we were jet lagged the first night.
Hmm.
So we went to Trevi at like 6 a.m. and nobody's
Oh,
there.
really?
So
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with you. If you can do Rome first, because my strategy actually when I did it 2 years ago was I landed in Rome and left it for Milan. So I didn't want to
Hmm.
repeat the same city. And I think it worked
Yeah.
out great, as you said, because you kind of hustle and bustle and
Yeah.
you kind of take it easy. So, I mean,
Hmm.
I was going to ask you, like, knowing that you picked a property specifically close to the Coliseum, you basically said, hey, I'm going to take public transit or I'm going to walk a million miles to the Trevi, to the Spanish Steps, all that stuff. Was that your goal, knowing that Europe is notorious for pickpocketing these days?
Well, luckily we had experience from Greece already, so we kind of knew the gist of like walking to places and then like what to watch out for pickpockets and stuff. I will say there was not even one close call with a pickpocket in our entire time in Italy or in Greece. Not even once I ever, there was ever a thing. Where's my watch? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was intentional that we booked that place. One, because I thought it was good value for the points. I thought it was going to be a nice property because it was a quiet area. But we also like walking. Like, honestly, vacations is where we, lose the most weight. Like, we do 10, 20,000 steps. Like, we actually enjoyed doing a lot of steps. So it's in some cases it got a little tiresome when it's like 90 degrees and you have to walk all the way to Spanish Steps and then walk all the way back. We did in fact do a taxi one of the days, but we're also people that yeah we do want to walk those 10K a day at least around. It's just for health or whatever. Um, so that I didn't really have an issue with that. But the taxis were actually like as you got more south, the taxis got more cheap. They got cheaper and cheaper. Like I think it was like $20 to go from the Florence hotel to the train station, and then to the airport was like 50. Like not actually comparable to Greece, not that bad. Although Greece in certain cases were like 10, and $8 for a taxi going like 10 minutes, or it's pretty cheap. But or Athens, I should say.
Let's see here, going back to the Chase train, Cesar is
Hmm.
confirming you close a couple, don't transfer credit limit, just close them, wait a month or two and reapply.
Hmm. I'm doing it. Screw it. I'm gonna
And
close
he
a
also
couple.
said too, don't carry an unpaid balance on name cards.
Okay, I'll pay those off.
Let's see here, Mike has always got great insight here. And so over
Yeah, Mike
there,
lived
they
there
don't
for
offer
years.
luggage service in between hotels you could pay for.
I mean, I know that's a Japan thing. I don't know. Is that a thing elsewhere? I don't
Yeah,
really
we had
know.
it, yeah, it's definitely, there's some parts in Europe they have it. It just,
Hmm.
it just depends on, where you're going. Like, they have it in Korea too. Like, they have it in Europe too. I just can't think, but I know they do it in certain places. You can take like a 1 day trip or half a day
Hmm.
trip. So that's interesting to know. So,
We probably would never trust it. You know, we honestly probably wouldn't trust to do it unless maybe if it's Japan. I hear it's really trustworthy there. But we also just don't trust our luggage or carry-ons with like anybody. Like even the hotel staff, we're like, no, we'll take it. Very rarely did we have them take anything. Just I don't know. We just like to have our stuff, and we're gonna take care of it more than anybody else. And actually, maybe I don't know if we're finished with Rome, but actually something did happen on our flight home from Rome to Atlanta with losing our luggage. I don't know if we're ready to transition to Lufthansa, but let me know.
I was gonna say, so obviously I went to Greece and we can definitely debate back. So I did two
Mm,
days and I went from Athens. After I landed in Athens at 5 a.m. I had to wait.
same, yeah.
I had to wait a couple hours, take my flight to Santorini, which that's
Oh
fun.
God.
I did 2 days in Santorini like, and I stayed at the SLH property, only
Nice.
for one night though, because and like I said, the whole moving around thing is always an issue. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that was like a million points. So I used an FSC at the Oya Suites,
Mm,
and I mean, to me, being there for 1 day and what people say about some of the stuff I've sent you, like it is as advertised with the pictures, the sunset, like it is. when you go to Oya, I totally agree. When you go to Santorini, you should go there. Like if you want
Hmm.
the best experience, because it's the northernest part of Santorini, and you're gonna get the most luxurious views. You're gonna get the blue domes. Are you gonna
Yeah.
get a little touristy? Sure, it's a small town,
Yeah.
but you're gonna get that better feeling because when you start going to Fira and Emeravili, it's fine, but you're just not gonna get that same class, same people. Like, I mean, as you told me, right? The Ubers are 40 euros flat, whether it's 20 miles or two, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So if you're asking me if you want to go to Santorini, is it worth the visit? Yeah, but don't stay there more than 2 days because as Anthony mentioned, and his visit to some of the places, once you see the view and you see that for a couple, there's not much more unless you start using the bus system as Anthony said, a lot of these cities, and you start transferring from Fira to Oya, Oya to all these other towns. Then
Hmm.
yeah, you could almost do it as a base, which can work because the bus system
Yeah.
isn't the best, but it's manageable. So I mean, we did one night in Oya, and then we did the other night in Fira, which is the main area, and it's fine. It's bustling, everything. It's cool, you know. So I recommend doing it. I mean, like I said, Anthony's been to Paros, which is a different island, different things, and
Yeah.
obviously Oya is known for the crazy sunset, the blue domes, and yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. I would do it. The breakfast was great. I mean, I was gonna tell. I think Anthony says too, like when you start going to stuff, like you start getting like you get the
Yeah.
hats, you get the tote bags. I mean, you get
Yeah.
all this stuff, make you feel like $1 million, and it was great. I mean, I would definitely recommend Santorini. It is expensive because it's like any touristy town, right? It's
Yeah.
there. I mean, there's no such thing as an identity there, just because they know that everyone there is not from Greece. It's Americans, Europeans, Asians, everyone except Greece people, you know? So,
Yeah. That's amazing, and I'm glad you had that kind of experience. I think you're right. I think 2 days, unless you're just somebody who like doesn't care about the prices, and you're like, I'm just gonna stay at the hotel and look at the view and stay at eat at the restaurant at the hotel, and like that's your vacation. Like 4 days, just like you really love to relax, cool. But I think actually we're pretty aligned, Mike, where we like to see a couple things and then move on or have some itinerary in some cases. I think there's actually, here's an astute thing. My wife also came up with something during this trip, which is there's a difference between a vacation and a trip. And she says a vacation is like, we're going to a beach town for 5 nights, and that's the goal is to just be at a beach and just hang out. A trip is like Italy, go see the Colosseum, go do all these. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be a lot of things to do. Not as relaxing for sure. And I think setting your expectations of what the goal is for the trip, is it going to be a trip or is it going to be a vacation? That would have that would have changed a little bit of things. But I did the same as you. Like Paros it's a quiet Santorini, I guess. There's a couple blue domes, smaller place. The SLHs aren't as fancy, but I love the one that I was at overlooking the water. Um, a little bit pricey, but it was worth it for sure. Definitely. Yeah, I don't know if we'll end up going to Santorini because Sleepy Rod's like I heard it's overrated or overpriced. Um,
I mean, I
Tough
got
to
I got
say,
the
probably.
suites with the plunge
I
the
don't know,
plunge pool and everything.
but you loved it,
It
yeah.
was it was crazy. I mean, just just the view and the color. I mean, it's a great experience. To me, I would say if you understand that it's overpriced and it's
Yeah.
beautiful and you still want to go, then why not? Like I said, it's in terms of Santorini, the Oya spot is the best spot to stay, and you can definitely town hop. It's not hard to town hop from one of them. It's the bus system wasn't. It was the kind of I think you experienced it too. If you took buses in Paros, it's the kind of thing where they put a paper on the wall and it changes like every week. And I'm just like, and
That's
like
funny.
you have to follow like the number of buses, and if you know the number, then you know it goes to certain towns. So I remember that last day we were there was frustrating because like we couldn't understand word to transfer. We had to ask the people like bus 14, go to blah blah blah. So it's manageable. And same thing with the car. I don't know if I do the car thing just because of the roads, not knowing how to drive, the small alleys. I mean, parking was free for most of the places we stayed at, but still, like, unless you're a local there, I don't recommend a car. So the bus wasn't bad. It was just, like I said, unless you knew it head to toe, sometimes the bus system got a little bit confusing and we had to wait. I think we just missed the one bus ride, we had to wait like an hour for the next one. So it kind of sucked.
Damn. So what do you think on, because we had different methods of getting to these islands in Greece. We took a boat, you took a plane. Um, and I never took a plane to any of the islands. Did you ever do the boat? The
No, we
ships to
didn't do the
there?
boat. Like I said, 5, 6 hours plus waiting. And we just felt like being 2 days there, we didn't want to waste any time. I will
Mhm.
say, just like with any flight, except in US, the carry-on luggage thing is just brutal for anyone. I mean, it's
Yeah.
across the board, to my knowledge,
Yeah.
7 to 10 kilos. And I know
Mm.
for a fact my carry-on luggage is one of those rock ones. It's already almost 10 kilos by itself. So like that's the only issue I have with flying versus like a train or a ferry is that I always have to check in my luggage. And then I'm not sure if you experience this. You definitely experience it at least twice with your flights. The whole liquid thing is annoying as ever. I hate it with TSA over there. Like the plastic bag
Yeah.
thing, they've been doing that. They did that 10 years ago when I went, and they're still doing it now. And I'm just like, come on, like, can we just stop doing the liquid bag thing? Like, it's just super annoying. Along with the weight
Yeah.
issue, that's super dumb. So I don't know if I change my
Yeah.
mind doing it all over again just because of time, but I get the experience you want to do. But yeah, we did it for the sake of time, and
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It was so short. Like I literally got on the plane. I looked at something and I'm ready landing. So I don't know.
Yeah, as opposed to my 4 hour journey to Paros on the ship. That's also stressful. It's like, figure out where's the ship, which is the right ship. Getting on the ship of over 1,000 people, and then like you realize there's only set amount of seating, and then there's like plastic chairs you got to grab, and then you just like sit in the middle of the ship. Like, it's but that was also a good experience. I liked doing that, but in hindsight, with
Oh, you
Mike.
had to use the elevators in Greece. I mean,
Oh yeah, let's ask you. So the Grand Hyatt in Athens, you stayed there after I stayed there. Historically known, not just me, many people have mentioned, maybe I'm the only one, worst elevators of any hotel of any kind. Did you experience the horrible elevators at the Grand Hyatt in Athens?
so I'm gonna use a reference to somebody when they stayed in Japan. I stayed at the Hyatt Regency Tokyo. It was under construction. It was horrible. Everything was
Okay.
just horrible because you felt like you couldn't go anywhere in the hotel.
Hmm.
But for some reason, when I stayed my one night at the Grand Hyatt Athens, as I segue, it was fine, man. Like it was smooth. I wasn't waiting up 10 minutes like everyone was saying. Like I think it
The
was fine.
worst.
Like I mean, we got
Lucky.
upgraded to, a premium room and like I said, was it the greatest location? Absolutely not. It was in the Synagogus Avenue. We actually walked around and we're like, dang, there's nothing
Yeah.
here. We even tried to
Yeah.
find something to eat. We're just like, yeah, that's not happening. The only good thing, as you know, with that, and we kind of abused it as much as we could, even when we left the hotel. Like, after we checked out, we used the shuttle again to go to our next hotel because it was so far.
Oh
So, but
yeah,
yeah, that's the
nice.
only thing good about the Grand Hyatt Athens is that you can take
Yeah.
their free shuttle service and you basically get into the city. You get to the gardens and then you can go to, all the attractions. Great property. I used a club access. It wasn't great, at least for food. The view wasn't
Hmm.
great. We did get the upgrade. We didn't get the Acropolis view. I mean, but like it was
Yeah.
fine. It was a good property. It was clean. I mean, I would say too, I think, and I don't know if you've seen this now in your last two trips, they're very stingy with the check-in early thing because like I could not get in
Hmm.
early for the life of me. Like it was just like
Really?
3
Hmm.
p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 4 p.m. They
Wow.
would not budge on the check-in. So like it's one thing even with status, right? You have,
Yeah.
I had Hilton Gold, it didn't matter. I had Explorer, it didn't matter. Like it was just like, you can't check in early. So I'm just like, this is just super annoying.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I didn't have to in anyone there other than the Hilton at Luma, and they did let me check in at like 6 a.m. But I think it was also because I emailed them like 2 days in advance that was going to happen, or 3 days in advance. So maybe they, I don't know, had a special provision, for that.
Let's
Um,
see here.
but yeah.
Fun says this, going to Naples to see the ruins of a fighter. Any tips?
Hmm.
So I haven't been to Naples. I don't think Andy's been there too. I can tell you that there are direct flights to Naples, by the way. I only know that because I know for a fact United flies straight to Naples and Venice. I think
Oh
Delta
well.
does straight to Venice too. So if you're looking for direct flights, I know more of the legacy carriers will have direct flights, albeit if you do United or Delta, obviously it's going to cost you your whole war chest of points. But That's what I would say. I don't really have any tips because I haven't been there. I can only tell you direct flights, but I don't know if Anthony has done any research on Naples specifically.
I haven't. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to add any additional insight there, unfortunately. Just that it's something we probably will do in the future.
And fun, I'm not sure if this is related. I'm going to Guatemala City and then like Flores, then taking a helicopter to El Marino, owning several houses because I mean, that's
Wow.
pretty interesting.
Dang. I do it helicopter travel. How do you
For
redeem
real.
points for that? That's other than built, you know.
So I
That's
did,
pretty
after that,
cool.
I did one night in Grand Hyatt, and then I did my two remaining nights. Anthony recommended Audio Luma, and we can definitely talk about this one. This one was 60,000, I think, was it 60,000 Hilton points? The
Yeah,
cents per point
probably
were just totally trash, I'm not gonna lie.
half. Yeah.
And it's more in the city, definitely more in the city, obviously. And I can tell you, if we talk about this, as we were talking, offhand, it's not a great area. And I think if anyone who has been to Greece, specifically Athens, being one of the most top five Europe destinations for Americans, it's a very poor city. It's a very poor city knowing that they get so much tourism. The Athens airport is horrible, by the way. I don't need to tell you how it was horrible.
Really?
Like, the people didn't realize how bad the line was when we were at the airport to get to check in our bags until there
Hmm.
was like the line was out the door. It was horrible.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
um, but in terms of the city of Athens, like I said, Acropolis, I don't when you went there, dude, it was crazy. Like we got in real early, right? And then I think after 9 a.m., it was just like
Yeah.
you couldn't move. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like after 1 hour, the entrance to the Acropolis was just crazy busy. Like, and yeah, I mean, you go there for the history, right? But it just feels like they're just trying to hold on to their things for dear life. I mean, there's scaffolding for the Acropolis, there's scaffolding for the Temple of Zeus. It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Like, we made a joke to the point where like they were willing to like put a sign for anything that basically had rocks and be like, this
Hmm.
is the blank blank blank. We couldn't restore it or keep it alive, but it's still very important. It's the schoolyard of Poseidon or something. It was crazy. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Plus, climbing up to the Acropolis is actually just like dangerous in it itself. There's like no railings. Like climbing up there, you can fall easily, down, but everyone makes it somehow.
but yeah,
Very
I,
dangerous
I, I
area.
gotta admit, I didn't enjoy the Acropolis as much, especially for what I paid for,
Mhm.
because it's not a cheap thing to go there. And to me, I didn't like the fact that like, unlike Italy, which I think is the only plus in my opinion, is that at least when you go to the Colosseum, you get access to the Palatine Hill and the Roman Forum.
Hmm.
But
True. Yeah.
as you know, with Athens, when you go to Acropolis, you do get access to, I think, was it Athena or something like that? But
Hmm.
for anything else, like Temple of Zeus or the Agora, you
Yeah.
don't have access. You got to pay for a combo ticket. So, and I felt to me, you're really taking advantage of people, even though you're in a very poor city, and you've got to pay so much more. Like I said, separate ticket for Zeus, separate ticket for the ancient Agora. By the end of the day, you're probably selling out maybe almost 100 euro for
Hmm.
those three events, those three landmarks. I didn't do the Temple of Zeus. I just kind of got
Yeah.
the picture outside the fence and
Hmm.
the Agora, which I think was pretty cool, but I didn't do it either because they had like the all of Zeus's children, like all their graves. What is it, Apollo and
Hmm.
Ares. That would have been cool too, but I was just like, at this point, I was just kind of like, it's getting kind of crazy with the money and the attractions, and I was okay just stuffing myself with, I don't know if you went to that place in Athens, the donut place. The place is called Luca Maids. We went one of those. It's a big chain there. We went to Luca Maids. It was
Hmm.
like the only place we were in Athens that actually had like real ice cream. So I don't know if you know this too, but
Yeah.
so in Italy, the one thing they told you if it's real gelato is that if it's displayed it's under the container. Where if it's showing,
Yeah.
like if you see through the display, it's fake. But if it's
Yeah.
under like the sealed containers, that means it's temperature controlled. So like in Athens, that was the only place we saw where they actually had the temperature controlled ice cream. And so we
Hmm.
ate there for the ice cream. We had the donuts. My wife got a coffee or whatever. So that place
Yeah.
was fun. And then knowing that we were now in the center of the city, we did find a hole in the wall restaurant.
Hmm.
And it was a hole in the wall restaurant because it was pretty much the only place they didn't ask for tips. They didn't even care about tips. They just gave us our food.
Nice. That's
We
yeah.
paid like 10
Money.
bucks for grilled squid. We got the moussaka, we got the dolmade, all that stuff. It was
Nice.
so cheap. It was, like I said, Paid like 25 bucks for like 6 dishes was amazing. And it was all fresh.
Wow.
On the menu, local, fresh seafood, all that stuff. So that was probably the best thing we ate in Athens. And we went there twice.
God.
We went there 2 days in a row. So
That's what happened, man. You make me want to go back there. I'm re-remembering all the good times there. Oh man, that was such a freaking good place. I'm so surprised you really didn't like the Illuma so much, man. I thought the area is great. I thought it was a perfect landing point, like base to walk to like the, Monastery or not Monastriaki. Yeah, Monastriaki Square. To that area and all the areas that we like to go to. If you get, if you like the more other kind of shopping, Plaka, but yeah, I'm not no reason to
I
go
don't
there.
think I think I was just
I like the
shocked.
rooftop place too. Did you go to the rooftop restaurant? I thought it was nice.
Oh, up there? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
nice. I mean, I don't think I disliked it. I think I was just kind of shocked. Like I said, knowing that
Mm,
I've been, like I said, I've been to Cairo. It's
yeah.
very poor there. I'll talk about Istanbul soon. I was just shocked
Mm,
at how bad it was there, knowing that
yeah.
they're ripping me off with the Acropolis and everything else, but then they can't take care of their people.
They don't
And
exist off anything
but
other
I
than
agree.
tourism.
The fact that
Yeah.
you're right next to Monastery Square is amazing. Like when you go out there and you see, you're just like, wow, this is great. You
That's
go
it.
out there, you see the view. I mean, it's great. I mean, that center area. I mean, I'm not gonna deny it. It was, like I said, I give you props because if I wouldn't stay there, I don't think I would explore as much of Athens and the local
Mm.
people as much if I stayed somewhere else like Grand Hyatt, for example. So
I think that's kind of, yeah, I think that's what we felt. Yeah. And I guess hearing your experience is good to know because, yeah, it is, there's graffiti all in those areas and then this guy's hanging out up front, of the hotel, but they have a nice doorman there that says, hello and stuff. But did you learn your Greek phrases?
well, like
Kalimera, Kalispera?
Calimera,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
of
I mean,
course.
like I said, it helps throwing a little bit of phrases and makes them feel welcome. Mike Newland says, "Have safe. I'm guessing he's saying, did you feel safe in
Yeah,
Greece?" So,
extremely
I mean,
for
I
me.
guess the only part I was maybe not, I wouldn't say safe, but just a little bit careful was the transport part. Obviously, with the pickpocketing, like
Mm,
there was some parts. I think whenever you get to a point where like you're in a bus or a train and it's like
yeah.
packed, I'm holding my stuff from dear life because that's like the best opportunity. Not just in Greece, it happens in Italy, Spain, Germany, anywhere to take advantage of tourists. That's the only part where I felt a little bit where I was being more careful. But otherwise, like we walked at night, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's a great atmosphere at night. I mean, the people are nice too. I didn't have any issue. Like that place, Adi Luma, I told you, I right next door was that mom and pop coffee shop where like they were like
Mm,
selling fresh juices for like $1 and
yep. Yep.
coffee and because that was great. I mean, like I said, so I don't know if I think you probably felt safe in Greece too. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we felt more safe in Greece than Italy actually, and Italy was already very safe, but a couple, you have way more scammers there in Italy, and it's just way more people and stuff like that. Greece has way less of that, in general. But you're right, it is a very poor country. We talked it. That's why also partly is why I like to do tours because they'll get you up to the Acropolis and all those different things and just kind of like manage everything. But on those tours, we learned about like the average income is like $800 USD per month, or like that's like a decent income for somebody and to live there. So they only exist on their tourism, and they mentioned that a bunch of times. So that's why they got to overcharge you on the Acropolis, I guess. They got they got to overcharge you.
got Joe Barretto. Thanks for joining, Joe Barretto.
Joe
What's going on, Joe?
was popping. Hmm.
So, I mean, I did want to talk about this. I know we talked about this. So, one thing to mention, if you are in Europe, I don't remember if it's all of them, but I know for a fact, and Italy, pretty sure it is, and Greece. Like, I was showing my bill here. The one thing that you have to worry about with these, especially with the hotel chains, is that they start charging you these.
Hmm.
It's read here as climate resilient fee. Here it is, climate resilient fee, and basically it's 15 euros a day. Doesn't matter if you pay cash or pay points, but usually it's those branded hotels. I mean, the weird thing is that when you read about that tax, I read it online. It says for Greece, but I know when I was in Santorini they didn't charge me it, so I don't know. Your miles may vary, but I would
Yeah.
definitely say if you stay in a major city, Rome, Milan, Athens, you will get hit with that tax. And I don't know if Anthony, if you've been able to get away with it, but unfortunately, I tried and I had to pay the 30 euros for my 2 nights.
Yeah, the only time, yeah, and it's funny because they'll have different names for it. It seems like, oh, it's the hospitality tag, or this is the city tag, or this is some other, I don't know. Because when I was telling you off camera, actually, when I was staying at that Hyatt in Florence, they did charge us. I think, yeah, I think it was 15 euro per night. So we were there 5 nights. It was like 70 euro. And they were like, yeah, around there, 70 euro for for that tax. And I didn't actually, I understood it as like a normal, I don't know, tax out there in Europe, whatever. I didn't fully know what it was. And the person who was, checking me out, she said, she was like, do you want me to remove it? I didn't ask to remove it. I was like, all right. She was like, do you want to remove it? I was like, yeah, if you want. And then she asked like a couple of times, was like almost wanting me to say yes. So I said, yeah, if you want. And then she actually did. She removed the entire like 70 euro charge of that tax because I don't know. I didn't even ask for it, but she said, do you want me to? I said, yeah, why not?
So
So
it's very
I
interesting.
thought
Like I
that was
said,
nice.
that's just something I've just seen there. I was gonna ask you this
Yeah.
question. I dealt with this last month, and now I think going forward, I'm gonna be super critical about it, especially in the summer, like you. Were you aware for all the hotels you stayed in, did it have AC in it?
Yes, actually. There was no
I,
problems with AC on our trip, actually.
I only
Somehow.
said that I only said because I stayed in Scandinavia last month. Two of my hotels did not have AC.
Oh, wow.
Now it was
Yikes.
cooler, but I'm just saying, like, being here in the States, we have central AC, and if you're in the summer, like, and if you stay in the hotter countries like Greece,
Yeah.
Spain, like, ooh, I mean, it's gonna be tough to deal with that. I mean, so I just want to make sure I didn't. That's something I'm gonna keep in mind going forward. That I'm not gonna say, hey, I'm gonna go to Europe and be like, yeah, AC always. I can tell you in Asia, you don't have to worry about it. There's always AC there.
Hmm.
But for Europe, apparently, it's something they're okay with, they live with. So that's just one thing I didn't know if you were aware because I made sure for this trip, but Scandinavia last month, I didn't realize that that was a super thing where like they just like sweating all day.
They love it. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. They absolutely. That's why it's funny. Yeah, they don't really like it. Even like the taxis, they don't like putting the AC on. They just like window down, 90, 100 degrees. They just love it. I mean, it's fine. It's just interesting, if you have the option. But yeah, I was pretty aware that that could have been a problem. And so what I did to mitigate that was every hotel that I wanted to book, I would read the reviews, online Google reviews or TripAdvisor, and there would always be some comment, a few down that says like no AC, so I would then I would say, all right, I'm not doing this one, So that's how I've been able to avoid it. I think is the reviews will tell the story absolutely for the AC, but that's yeah, because that's what I heard. I heard the Palazzo Manfredi wasn't great on AC, but I heard the Palm Suite was, even though they're owned by the same person, the Manfredi. Yeah, the Manfredi, whatever. And they, so that one had good AC, so I switched to that one, and for a few different reasons, but that was one of them. Yeah, that's crazy. No AC, man. It's a luxury, but you really need it. You really, you need it, man. How are you gonna sleep? What are you gonna have horrible sleep just because you
Dude, I had the
decided to pick a
window
place?
open. I had the window open. I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
what if bugs
annoying.
come in or stuff like that, you know? Like,
Bugs, yeah, yeah, all over you by the time you wake up. Yeah, it's not worth it. Especially, I mean, if you're solo, you can make it work, but like, especially traveling with wives and stuff, like they need to be cooled down. They absolutely need to be cooled down. You need to be managing their heat all day long. Absolutely.
so so what was your strategy with, I know you probably brought some euros. Did you withdraw it before you left, at the airport? Did you do it on site? Did you bring a lot of euros?
Oh, this was actually a funny story. That's a good, yeah, that's a good question. So I brought, I really didn't do much in advance. We got like $400 US with the goal of exchanging it there, and I was gonna do it right at the airport. But when we got to the Milan airport, the woman who would do it, she like, I don't know, she looked scary. Like she looked up, she was like, and then she just like it's like a weird look like this. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna approach this person. I don't really feel like it. She just looked too nasty. I didn't want to deal with it. So we didn't end up exchanging any money until we got to Florence. So we didn't use any cash, which we didn't. Card was good for everything. Never needed to use cash, but we didn't exchange until because Actually, a little interesting tip for anybody going to Florence. They have, it seems like a scam, but it's not. They have these what are considered free tours. But if you go on Viator, they're actually like $3 a person. So we paid like $7 for a tour, and then we did it again for another one. So it was like $14 worth of two tours. When you get there, they're technically free tours, but they're tip based. So when you go, you use euro and you give them like $10, $20. It actually works out to be much cheaper than most tours anyway, because we did one great tour guide, 2 hours long. We got a lot of history, like 1,000 years of history in 2 hours, as much as he could pack in. The Medici family and all that from that $7 tour. And we tipped him like I think he was so good we tipped 30, but most people did like 20, and that's pretty cheap. Two people for a 2 hour tour to learn most things. Highly recommend it. Has like 11,000 5-star reviews, and it's $3. Like 100% do it. But funny story was I couldn't find anywhere to exchange money. I asked my hotel. He was like, "Go to this bank right here." I went to the bank, and oh man, am I forgetting now? I'm forgetting how to say it in Italian. I learned how to say exchange money and everything in Italian, and I used Italian for all of it. Um, what's that? I can't remember. Damn, can't remember at the moment. But I all Italian. They were like, "No, we don't do it here at this bank," And then I called the hotel. I was like, "Hey, any advice?" He was like, "Well, you could try the post office right across the street." I was like, "The post office? Interesting." So I went into the post office and I said, can we, posso scambiare contanti? Can I exchange cash? And they said, "Sí." And then they went to it and they were like, "Okay, cool. We need your passport." I don't have my passport on me right now. I'm just walking around in the morning. So I ran back to my hotel, ran all the way back. And then, and what I found was, so I acted like a true Italian on during that experience because we were going to be late for a tour, and I had to run back, and then there was a longer line, and he had just told me like whatever. So you have in the post office, you have to grab a ticket. There's like a little like ticket like for what it's for. It's all in Italian, so I didn't know what it was for. I just clicked like, "Oh, I'm here for this reason," and then I just ran back up to. There was like 10 people online. I just went back up to. I was like, "Can I do it now?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." And then I pretty much skipped the line to go and exchange the money, and I did like 200. It was like 200 US, and we got 150 back or whatever it was. And then I used that throughout the trip for some taxis and then some tours, some food, a little bit of that. But yeah, that I thought that was an interesting experience. I was like, the post office of all places allow me to exchange money, so it's a good little tip if you need to. Post office can do it, and it's less lines, less people than the bank. I thought.
That
I
may be a
thought.
good tip too, because the one time I did the money exchange in China, I swear, it took like an hour. I was the only customer there, and
Oh
I
my
swear they wanted there was like a 5 page fills out. It was like they were asking for so much. So I recommend get your
yeah, it's big.
money before you go to China, because if you do it there, they're like, I feel like they're just gonna keep you there forever. So
Oh yeah, they needed the passport. They did, like, where are you staying in Florence? I had to give them the hotel address. Um, they ask a bunch of questions. Yeah, yeah, all day. Yeah, do it
oh
at the
yeah,
airport,
you
right?
also
Easier.
notice too, like in Europe, I don't know if they do in the States as much, maybe because we're citizens, but they always ask for your passport and they always ask for your partner's passport. And sometimes you can see them print a copy of your passport, and then sometimes you're
Hmm.
wondering what they're doing with it, but you can't exactly say, "Oh, can you just shred that?"
Yeah.
Because
Can you straight that? Yeah. There's gonna be like 50 Italian Anthony Ventures running around, fake identities out in Italy very soon with my passport. We'll see.
it's only an international thing. It's the only time they always ask for you and your partners, and it's just so weird.
Yeah,
I
even to
mean,
check in for a hotel.
I will say one hotel when I was staying in Istanbul in Turkey, they actually this is crazy. They, they actually use so when they did my copy of the passport, they actually use my passport number as part of the login for the Wi-Fi.
What? Oh, that's messed up, man. What's
So
wrong
I'm
with
just
that?
like,
Yeah,
do
just
you
put your
want to talk about
social.
using my information? Like,
Yeah, what's your Wi-Fi pass? It's your social security number.
it's like
That's funny. Wow,
so
that's actually crazy.
so now that you've been on a couple of trips, and I know we can compare, I think when we talk about like Italy, and Greece, like I think if people had to choose, I think Italy's probably easier to get there, but in terms of like if you're gonna enjoy it more, I think Greece probably just has a more laid back vibe, with the islands, the food. I mean, I think it's definitely
Yeah.
cheaper in Greece for some
Yeah.
parts. I think the food is definitely better. Like the seafood is great. I mean, just some of the food you eat there, the meat, souvlaki's. I
Yeah.
mean, I just feel like the people are a little bit easier to deal with too. They're more friendly. Whereas
Yeah.
I don't know, the Italians are just a little bit different. Like I said, they're just a little bit more uptight. It's way
Hmm.
more expensive there. Definitely way more expensive there.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I mean, I, I think they're both fine countries to visit. But if I had to choose, like I said, especially my wife loved Greece. Like she always does this thing at the end and says, "Would you go back there? Could you see if you're living there?" And she said, "I could do it for Greece. I can't do it
Hmm.
for Italy." So, I think when your wife is happy and she can say that, I think that means a lot more for all the
Yeah.
work you've done planning the trip. So that's what I would say. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to Italy. I think you should definitely go.
Yeah.
But I think comparing doing both of these countries, we would prefer Greece over Italy. I mean,
All day. I mean, Greece was like the one place I was able to just like go to a random coffee shop, get a little bit of like the actual Greek yogurt, and then like Turkish coffee, a little something, or a little bit of spinach pie, and I just like would just sit there and relax. I would look around. I felt totally at peace. Amazing food, amazing people. Like I never could fully relax in Italy. I felt like I could never fully just be there. I felt, and it was just always too many people. Just yeah, what's to expect, obviously. But Athens was like not crowded, and we went in June. Like it's pretty, summer. We went in June, Greece, and it was perfect. Like not many, like nobody. I felt like comparably, compared to Rome and or Florence and any of those places, felt like nobody was there. So good.
so
I
I was
loved it.
gonna say, so now that you've been on these trips, hotels specifically,
Hmm.
is your strategy changed or is it different in that I know you do luxury hotels, but are you now saying I rather do luxury hotels, or am I doing what Luke said this week where he says I'm going for center city because I can just walk out, but sometimes center city is not that great because it can be noisy. Like I stayed at one hotel in Istanbul, and it was pretty center, but it was right next to a mosque. So you know what happened
Uh,
at 5 a.m. or 8 p.m. at night? Exactly. So I just want to know, like, have you changed your strategy or you stick with the same luxury or center city or a combination of both, maybe?
um, I think if nothing else, this trip taught me just how much it pays for convenience and being central. Yeah, I think going forward, I'm not going to optimize for like the highest hotel experience unless it's an area where I'm planning to stay at the hotel most of the time. It's probably going to be more of a mid-end, like that Adia Luma, that 60K a night Curio, um, Hilton hotel, like something that's easy to walk to. If we want to have food at the restaurant, it's not a Michelin star restaurant. It's cheap food. Like we ate at the rooftop there. It's like $10 meal or something like that. It was like a small little thing that we just shared. Um, you know, it's going to be a place where yeah, it's very walkable. But high enough where it's not in a bad area and it's not horrible service and stuff like that. So I'm definitely very promptly going to be in that mid to high range. I would say going forward. Not no longer. I don't think I'm going to do ultra high unless it's like yeah, I don't know, some crazy destination and that's the trip. Like your Santorini hotel. Like yeah, that's the reason you go there. Um, so yeah, I think he's right. I think centrally located, is kind of what's up, and that's why I'm trying to figure out for Tokyo, like what's the best option. I have the Hyatt Centric booked because I just read and heard it's 5 minutes from the Ginza train, and it's a few minutes walk for a couple of izakayas. Like it seems like a good location, but I don't know because I haven't been there yet. So because the Park Hyatt opened, and I'm like, oh, should I book that? That would be cool. But I'm like, I think I'd rather be where Ginza is. I think it makes sense personally, just from what I've seen so far. But again, I won't know till I get there or people's advice and stuff like that.
I think before I close up with my Turkey experience, I just want to answer Stevie Ross' question for a while, and I think everyone has kind of understood this because it's.
Yeah.
How do you all feel about the massive Hilton devaluation? I mean, it's not like the points were getting better over time. I mean,
Yeah.
like, oh, now it's 100, now 109, now 250. I mean,
Yeah.
my opinion on Hilton, and this is gonna sound bad. I've been kind of brewing this up for like maybe weeks or a month, but I think after I burn all my Hilton points, I use my FNCs for like Japan next year. I'm probably gonna pivot away. I mean, it sucks to say so
Well,
bad to pivot away from Hilton to Marriott, knowing Marriott is just like
yeah.
inconsistent, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't get inconsistent. You're gonna get consistent perks, the breakfast stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the highest level, they exclude breakfast at the highest properties. And then I've talked to people like, what do you get out of it? He's like, oh, we get some good stuff, top up FNCs or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
good footprint, which is fine.
Yeah.
But and I know Luke mentioned this too because, like I said, I have the IHG and I agree. IHG to me, and what my opinion is that like it's exactly what he said. I listened to what he said in your live with him. Like
Hmm.
the value of the points isn't any so much better than like 0.5, 0.6, but it's like saying this. Would you rather stay at Intercontinental from 40 to 70,000 a night, or would you rather stay, I mean, let's say a Conrad for like 100,000 ish? Like, that's what you're
Yeah.
weighing off. Like, is it better than a Conrad? I've been to a Conrad. Like, it's fine. Is an
Yeah.
Intercontinental so much less than a Conrad? I don't think so. Is it below a Waldorf? Of course.
Yeah.
But to get, like I said, I've seen Intercontinentals for 40,000, like in Singapore. We paid 40,000 for our Intercontinental in Egypt. So, like,
Hmm.
if you can get all CPPs are the same, why wouldn't you go with IHG? Especially, like in my opinion, at least my travel, I like the fourth night free versus the fifth
Yeah.
night, just because you pay more points overall, and you get the
Hmm.
free FNC, and also to me, platinum status with the card is very similar to Hilton Gold. The only difference is the breakfast, obviously with Hilton Gold, but the points you're getting with the mid levels, the Kimptons, the Evens, the more sense, the Gardeners, like you're getting great value. I mean, you're getting great value for the 30, 50,000 per night.
Hmm.
It's just like I said, you're just not getting that food perk, which I think you can live with versus Hilton because the massive devaluations. I mean, I even tried to use the gift card in Europe. They don't even know what the heck that is,
Yeah.
So um, it's I don't know if you feel differently, but like I said, I've done IHG now. I've done a little bit Marriott lately. Hyatt, obviously, we know. It's just Hilton is it's just horrible. To me, the only reason you get Hilton is if you do that one vacation a year and you make it worth it. That's about it. Because you can't stay more than 5 nights at a Hilton annually, knowing the points are so bad and you're getting such terrible value on them.
Yeah. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's tough to say. I know there will be a time where I pivot to Marriott and just got like all in, get those points currencies, but I'm still loving Hilton for now. I still love these SLHs, and I still have timeshares to do. So I'm just like, in the meantime where I could still, and I think because I also haven't gotten the Aspire yet, so I'm like, I have some more runway to go. Um, and I guess part of it too is I am fortunate enough that, well, two things. One, maybe not fortunate enough, but like maybe stupid enough to transfer all my Amex points. Like all my excess ones have just gone to Hilton lately, like the last year. Like I've transferred a couple 100,000, over to Hilton. So like maybe that could have been better spent elsewhere. But honestly, one fortunate thing is for some reason I don't get many referrals, to be honest, from like being a YouTube content creator. But Hilton, when I hit the Hilton hard, like with those videos when the FNCs come out, I do generally get pretty close, or if not max out the referrals, and it's good because each card has their own set. So like I have two no annual fee Hilton cards. That's 280,000 Hilton points on referrals per year. And then my wife has two of them. So like theoretically, we probably did earn like 400,000 last year of just referrals on just Hilton. So that helps, 400,000 or 500,000. That helps a ton. But that's not everybody, That's also probably why I'm able to just continue on with the Hilton train because I'm doing so many timeshares, or I'm transferring so many Amex points, or I'm getting referrals. Um, so that's the thing. But as Fun says, that don't transfer to Hilton. I don't, to me it's like there was a couple of redemptions I wanted to make. There was some bucket list places, whatever. The Amex will come back. If I can get like a business gold one of these days, I'll get my 200K back. We'll see. But yeah, but it could be better spent. But I also really enjoy some of these hotel experiences too. Yeah.
Let's see here. Fun says, what's your local ATM? I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have the means and you're okay with the scenarios, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I think we all know about this. Don't hit the convert currency. Let's see here. Apparently the hate is on. Conrad sucks. Sorry, bad experience. My one
I
experience
mean,
with Conrad, it was fine. I
yeah.
mean, at least I know why there's a I think there's a points difference between the Waldorf and the Conrad. in my experience now in Beijing versus the one in the Waldorf in Cairo, I can see the difference. I can see why there's a difference in points in separating. And this is my opinion. I'm doing both of them. I don't know if you feel differently, but I see there's a not a huge gap, but a good amount of gap to see why one is worth more than the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's levels to it. It's definitely, Conrad, then Waldorf, pretty much most of the time. There are some Conrads that are insane. Um, but yeah, Waldorf should always be like that flagship brand. Um, well, I guess Hilton's the flagship, but Waldorf should be the one. That's top for sure.
So I'm going to go through this pretty quick. I was in Turkey for way too many days, by the way. Now that I think about it, I was there for 6 days, which
Damn.
now that I think about it, so I did 2 days in Cappadocia. So I don't know if you guys know what Cappadocia, but it's that hot air balloon area with the valleys. It's known for the 200 balloons in the sky. This is my souvenir, by the way. So, I mean, so the thing with Istanbul or Turkey is that I don't even know if it's great to say, but Turkish Airlines basically is like owns the airports, like all the airports. Like the Wi-Fi code, Turkish airline flight number and your name. Like that's how
Oh, wow.
big they are. So we did Turkish Airlines across the board we did Athens, layover in Istanbul to Navashir, which is Cappadocia. I mean, the value I got on the flight was amazing because I think it's so expensive. I was getting like 3 to 6 cents per point. I'm on the flights.
Wow.
Regardless, and I was transferring from City, Capital One. They all have transfer partners with Turkish, and the reality is this: Cappadocia is basically like Santorini. It's it's crazy. I mean, it's super touristy. And one tip, it doesn't matter when you book those balloon rides, like on Viator or whatever, like I did. What I found out and confirmed with the hotel staff is once you get the day before your balloon ride, whether the weather is good or not, they cancel your reservation.
Really?
And they'll say the weather is bad. So then you
Huh.
feel like you're in a position of no leverage. So then you either have to rebook let's say my balloon ride was $200 per person, right? Obviously now if you have to rebook a day before, the price is going to be tremendously crazy through Viator or through the balloon group. And so I remember it canceled the flight I went out, the day I went to fly out for the next day. And then I kept rebooking and they kept recanceling me. And
Really?
but the good thing was it actually was a weather issue, by the way. It actually was no weather. So the next day I was there, I was like, let me do this all over again. And I talked with hotel staff, they're like, yeah, like we're having a balloon ride tomorrow. And if they're canceling your reservations because they know that they're basically looking at everyone's, reservations and they're just picking the highest one. And they're canceling yours and they'll say bad weather at, like at 11 in the morning.
Jeez.
And so I got a bad taste. We stayed at a cave hotel, by the way, which I haven't posted up, but it's one of the things to do there. Like it's literally a cave, like the chimney caves. Like you're literally in a cave. Like I personally was okay with it. My wife hated it because she's a germaphobe. But the chimneys, the rocks, it's a cool experience. And it was the only part in Turkey where it's 50 degrees. It was 50 degrees there. It was weird. It
Wow.
was crazy. So, but in regard for food and authenticity, it's like Santorini or like any type of touristy area. Overpriced, food wasn't great. They know you're a cash cow. So, would I recommend you going there? If you want to do the balloon ride, I guess, but just know that they're going to do that to you. They're going to price gouge you. They're going to try to get as much money out of you if you do it. The funny thing is, when I did the second night, it actually got canceled again, and actually it wasn't a weather issue. So I originally was staying there for 3 nights, but I was so just over it, I moved out and I went to Istanbul. So I stayed there for 4 nights, and
Jeez.
that's the thing. And the cool thing too is that with Turkish, if you do a change or cancellation fee, which I didn't know, while the taxes are high to book it for international flights, their change fee was $4.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So
Dang.
$4, I was okay with it. And then we did 2 nights at the Park Hyatt Istanbul, which was nice. We got upgraded. It's like I said, all the Park Hyatts in my experience are more of these upper class areas, and we got upgraded to a spa suite. And I was telling people I got a steam room in my hotel room. It was pretty crazy. We got the Turkish bath set up, which I didn't do. And he showed us how to do it too. The hotels have it was just kind of weird. So, but the steam room thing was pretty amazing. Like I said, to have a steam room in your hotel room with a suite, I can't say more. I mean, in regard for the area, it was great. It was a nice area. Like I said, transportation wasn't that terrible. And then for the
Mm.
last couple nights, we stayed at a Hilton, which apparently I had a really bad experience, by the way. Which the only thing good about the Hilton was that they gave you a free shuttle to the main train station because it was
Oh,
about a
nice.
mile away, which was nice. It
Uh,
was a double tree. You got your free cookie.
eh,
The only thing I will say is that
of
I
course.
actually submitted a complaint, and I don't know if it's people want to say I'm a terrible person, but basically what
Hmm.
happened was we did one of those like lunch cruises, along the river,
Yeah.
and I basically said, hey, let's do it through the concierge, and let's do it for 1 o'clock. And so they tell us when they show up at the lobby, right? So we do it, right? So the problem is that we wait in the lobby, we're waiting for the hotel transfer shuttle to come, and apparently they did come, but hotel Hilton contract never let me know they were here. So when I asked like 15 minutes later, I'm like, where are they at? I've been waiting for a while. They said they left. They're looking for you. And I
Oh,
was like, but it's your job to tell me. I don't speak Turkish. Like you told me you would let them know. So
yeah.
the whole time I'm arguing with the hotel staff. They're saying it's a miscommunication. One guy said I stepped away for a minute and I didn't forget to tell you. Then one guy said that, oh, there when you came down to the lobby they were already gone. It was just craziness. So
Damn.
I formed a complaint to them just because they were just lazy. Maybe it was wrong to
Hmm.
do, but I was potentially paying a good amount of money for them because, so in my experience, when you start going to more countries, I hate countries that are on their own currency, but then they start asking for other currency. So Turkey's on the
Hmm.
Turkish lira. They ask for
Yeah.
euros. They ask for US dollars.
Uh,
Egypt is on the Egyptian pound. They'll ask for anything except Egyptian pound.
huh.
Like when we were doing the camel ride in Egypt, we didn't have any cash on us because they wanted some tip. All we had was Japanese yen. They took it. Like they would take
What?
anything except their own currency. So that's why I like when you start going to these
Damn.
countries, that was the one thing I was just so kind of annoyed that they always
Huh.
want to get paid and everything except their own currency.
Interesting.
Was it
Hmm.
a good experience? Yeah, I had a good time. I mean, I had a good time, in Istanbul. It's a good city. It's just it's very similar to it's very similar to Cairo. It's a very poor country. They have their spots. It's nice. We like walking around. But would I
Like
would I
Athens?
go back there again? I don't know. I can't really say just because of how I was treated and how the people looked at me. I didn't
Hmm.
have the greatest time. I went there for the stuff I wanted to do, the mosque, stuff like that. But yeah, it was outrageous. Some of the stuff we did. I mean, some tips I would say, like if you're staying in Cappadocia, like they give you one way to save money is to do like an airport shuttle,
Hmm.
or you have like multiple people in the shuttle. I think it was like $7 to go like 20 miles. So pretty good deal. And as we've talked about, one thing I will always mention when you do find a hotel, if they do have shuttles, just try to find one that have shuttles because it really does help.
Hmm.
So, just in a nutshell, kind of Istanbul, Turkey. I guess we can kind of segue into really. I know you did Lufthansa, and like I said, I told you, like I said, the 222. I'm sure you had a great time with it. I don't know. Like I said, maybe you had more space in between, your window and aisle that you didn't have to jump over your wife. But I know that's what Luke said. Like, it's just like I said, the experience of having your one seat per the row is always nice. But if you had the great experience, you had the food, that's amazing. But I'm curious to hear Lufthansa because my wife did Lufthansa economy on the way home, and she said her seat was like flying Frontier.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Um, no, honestly, I can't say I liked it more. I could see doing it more. Like, I don't know. Like if I wanted to save some points and like it was between Emirates and Lufthansa, yeah, I would just book Lufthansa. Like it was a very enjoyable, calm, high level service ride. I mean, it was less privacy than Emirates because it didn't have like a partition wall or anything like that. But uh, honestly, everyone's laying down anyway. It wasn't really an issue. They were very accommodating. The food was great. Like I said, it's maybe crazy to say, but the food we had on the plane in Lufthansa was better than 75% of Italy. It was insane. Like, and I think that might be just what I like. Maybe I got to go to Germany because I like that food. I don't know. Maybe I'm not into the carbs. Maybe I'm into the high fats and protein. Probably. So maybe that was the thing. But yeah, level of service was still up there. Like again, it was the same thing. It was like champagne to start or wine to start, and then some amenity kits that were already there. Um, the screen was nice. It came out a little bit in front of you. It was on the A330, so decent sized plane. The only thing that people complain about, and I like that we did it in hindsight to learn about it, but it was definitely a little bit like what's going on here, is I guess anytime you're flying through Frankfurt or not Berlin, what's the other one?
Munich.
Is it? Oh, Munich, yeah. You to board the, I guess I don't know if it's Lufthansa or other planes as well, but to board those big planes going 10 hours, you have to, well, you go down some stairs. Well, yeah, you go across a hallway, then down some stairs, at least we did. And we're like, what are we waiting for? Like everyone was just standing in the hallway. I'm like, our flight's like now. Like, what's going on? Are we gonna miss this flight? What the hell? Then all of a sudden the door opens up. I'm like, is that a bus? I was like, oh, it is a bus. Wow. We pile into a bus on the tarmac, and they drive 15 minutes where we're all like literally packed like this, and we drive 15 minutes all the way to the plane, the A330 Lufthansa, to where you get off the bus and then you board the plane from the tarmac. You go up the stairs, and everything like that. Um, you know, and yeah, so that was great. That was actually funny experience to be like, all right, we're on a bus going here. Flight was delayed by like 40 minutes. The one thing that was scary though was we only had an hour and 5 minute layover from Rome to Frankfurt and then to Atlanta. Hour and five layover. Because of my experience of my 50-minute layover in Amsterdam coming home from Greece, I was like, we'll probably be fine. Um, it definitely was maybe a little bit more stressful than the Amsterdam, even though we had the extra 15 minutes, because this time passport control was decently long, like getting through passport control. But I had heard online that if you have a tight connection, you can talk to the gate agents and they can escort you to the front. So I asked two of them, and they both said, no, we can't do that. But you can ask the people online. They're very nice. They should let you skip ahead. I'm like, I'm not asking these people who are going through passport control to skip. So they wouldn't escort me to the front. So we sat there just waiting, and they're just taking, forever. Like one guy's working, and like, what are we doing here? I thought, German's supposed to be efficient. We go through, and we eventually get our it was so crazy too, because we got called up, and he was like, did you get your passport stamped? And my wife was like, well, in her head, she was like, no, that's what you do. You stamp our passport. Why are you asking if we have it already? I don't really know what the deal was, but then we eventually went through, and we were business class, and business class boarded probably 20 minutes ago. So we were boarding with the economy people, but for business because of, bus delays and all that. But honestly, I loved it. Yeah, I loved the experience all the way through. I think it was a very comfortable ride. I think it was very spacious. I didn't really, yeah, I mean, I didn't sleep really. I slept for like maybe 45 minutes. So there was no issue with like, yeah, getting up, going to the bathroom and stuff. We just would alternate. Great food, everything. Yeah, I loved it, honestly. And for 70K each, so 140 total for the one way to Atlanta. Yeah, I honestly would love to do it again. Yeah, outside of the tight connection and bus, but what could you do?
Did you feel like a VIP taking that bus to the plane? Because my wife hated it, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like a king, taking taking a bus to the plane as you feel like royalty. Yeah, no, it was just too tight. Like it was just too tight, and people bouncing and on top of each other. And I'm like, what, somebody's coughing. Like, what are we doing? Especially since we boarded with the economy people. We don't want to board with get on the bus with the economy people. We want to get on the bus with the business people. I mean, what are we doing? But no, there was a bunch of people running for that connection. It was super tight. But one bad thing that happened was, and we felt it. We always know when there's going to be a problem. When we went to take our carry-ons in Rome to do this initial flight, we ended up checking our carry-ons against our better judgment because we assumed that this plane to fly to Frankfurt, since it was only an hour and a half, was going to be too small. Like the overhead bins were too small for our carry-ons. So instead of chancing it and worrying about, okay, let me check them when I get there and then waiting to get them off the plane when we land, and that would maybe make us miss the connection, we ended up checking the bags. And we checked them and we said, it's going to go all the way through, right? We're not going to have to pick them up. It's going to go straight to Atlanta. They said, yes, you have nothing to worry about. And then I asked an actual agent again, is that going to be the case? And they said, yes. Well, we made it 10 hours. We made it all the way to Atlanta. We waited at the baggage line and no bags. That's right. Our bags
Yeah.
never made it on the plane. They were left in Frankfurt, Germany. luckily, we put in a claim. We talked to the people there in Atlanta, and they said, "All right, we're putting it on the next flight here, and it's going to be back in Atlanta at like 3 p.m." So the next day, we got up and we drove all the way to Atlanta. We picked up our bags because we didn't want to trust them because then, I'll ship it to my house. Yeah, and it comes here in 3 weeks. I'm not going to deal with that. So we ended up getting them, and then now we have them. And that was like a week ago.
So in the points and miles game, so when this happens, I had an experience in Japan.
Mm.
Did you try to ask for compensation? Like, I think the policies and rules for that are very weird, but I'd like to get to hear your story first, actually.
So I actually kind of forgot because I was gonna try because it was delayed for a day. I was like, maybe I can get $100 per bag or something. I don't know. But I ended up just not doing it. I don't know. We got the bags and we were just relieved, so I just didn't make a claim. Maybe I should do it though. Maybe I should make a claim that it was lost for that time, or maybe they don't even have a record of it. Just say it's still lost. Maybe.
Yeah, because we had the issue last year. We flew in A&A,
Hmm.
my first in business class, by the way. You
Wow.
know, we
They
flew
can't
from
even put the
Chicago to,
bags on the plane. Like, come on.
and like we saw the bag, on the runway tagged and everything. We get to Japan, and like we have the air tags, right?
Yeah.
And so like I go, hey babe, like my air tag's showing it's in Haneda, it's in Tokyo. How about yours? And she's like, oh, it's showing
Uh,
unknown. And then she looks and says it's not showing in Tokyo. So we waited for everything to come out, and then we found out it was stuck in Chicago.
oh my God. Like
And
one
remember, this is
job,
at
man.
we landed we were ready to late an hour, so we got to Tokyo at like 11:40. So the Japanese people are very nice. Like I said, we're not really saying she's the reason happened. Obviously, she's just a messenger. But obviously, we gotta put a foot down. And so we're talking to
Yeah.
her like, hey, this is a monstrosity. We don't have clothes for our next day in Japan. Like, what are
Yeah.
you all gonna do about this? And so in the end, like obviously they, got on the next flight. They delivered it to our hotel, no issues.
Oh wow.
And then,
Hmm.
like a gangster, the lady pulled out an envelope and gave us like $60. Like,
Oh wow.
gave us Japanese yen, just gave us money. Like, here's your compensation. So
Damn. That's pretty
interesting,
baller.
just interesting experience to hear that. And that was the one thing I was afraid of because I asked the same thing on my flight, this
Yeah.
week. Like, is this gonna go to Atlanta? Like, is this gonna make it? Like, are you guaranteeing this? Like, that's the
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I checked in all my luggage because of the stupid clear liquid rule because I
Hmm.
just hate it. So,
Yeah,
but
it was very stressful, and we crashed out a little bit for sure, and we are like, God damn it, we always, it's 2 weeks, we're already tired, like just put the bags on the plane, and they were like, oh, do you have a tight connection? That's why. I was like, we actually like didn't leave for another hour by the time we boarded. Like it was a pretty delayed, flight going home. Like, what else were you doing? There's like only one set of bags there. I mean, what the hell? I mean, I get everyone's got, can make mistakes, but it just seems like I looked online and like it happened very often with Lufthansa. They were like, "Oh, Lufthansa always losing my bags. I lost them for 3 weeks." I was like, I hope, luckily it was just a day for us, but yeah, that's always try. So like going forward, for the future trips, I might just chance putting it in the overhead like normal. That's what we always do. We just do overhead, not have to worry about it. But luckily, when we fly to Japan, we'll probably be flying from ORD, I'm guessing, or I don't know, maybe JFK. Um, we'll just, we'll be on business direct, so it'll be easy to just put the overhead in with a bigger plane. But yeah, that was stressful for sure. That was definitely stressful.
I mean, so I don't. I
Oh.
think Sleepy Rod is. I think he's probably right. I mean, I don't know what else they wouldn't do. I mean, at this point, if they do this, they're just kind of just dead to me. But I don't. I mean,
That's-
they already cap it with the FNCs, right? They only do it with standard
yeah.
suite is a standard room. So like they already capped that part. If they do cap the points, then what is it capped at? A 500K? Like what's the cap?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I wonder what that cap would be. I mean, if it's going to be, right now technically the cap is like the highest standard room you could find, which is maybe 200K per night, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that would suck.
So interesting here. This is very interesting because I did go to one of his restaurants because the Park Hyatt had one of the salt bears in it. So we actually did
Whoa.
eat there. Unfortunately, we did not see him, unfortunately, because I don't know where he's at these days. And yes, we got like the gold crusted steak or whatever. And I did
Oh
do
wow.
the just
A little bit of
because,
sport. Did you get it on a
But
short? You got to make a short of that.
yeah, I mean, and it's funny too
Nice.
because like he is very popular. Like anything with his name, whether it's a burger place or restaurant, like it's
Hmm.
packed. Like he is clearly their hero there because you
Damn.
put a picture of him, everyone just flocks to the restaurant. Doesn't matter what you're serving. And
I didn't know that was a I didn't know he was a thing in Turkey. I thought he was just a meme of somebody, but I didn't know he
I
was like a
mean,
famous.
in Turkey, he's probably a celebrity. Obviously, in America now, he's kind of not doing well with closed restaurants. But in Turkey, he's still a big thing there, to drawing people, tourists, doing the stinking salt thing, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it was very funny.
Interesting. Interesting. Hmm.
See here, Mike says, I'm guessing he's referring to the balloon thing. I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing with like the balloon thing, it's very similar to like the tourism, like in Greece, in that they only have so much time for tourism. And like I'm pretty sure like in the wintertime, like there's not a lot of people going to Greece in the wintertime or Istanbul, Turkey because it's so cold. Why do you go there? So I guess that's how I would refer like those touristy areas like Santorini. Like I don't know if you're gonna go in Santorini in freaking December or January, maybe, but it's got to be so cold there that do you really want to go there? I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Let's see here. Fun says you should have said you were the Celtics game in Chicago and they let you go in front of the line.
He's been telling me to say this for like years now. Like I never looked up what the Sausage King is.
By the way, I did use a Sausage King at the Hilton
Yeah.
and I got a great tip for.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's one day we'll do it. One day we'll make a video and we'll say, I'll record it. I'll say, I'm the Sausage King of the West. Can I get an upgrade? Just do it in person instead of email. He says email, but it's yeah, maybe we got to do it in person.
So I will say my flight back home was direct from Istanbul to Atlanta, and it was Turkish Airlines, as I mentioned, the monopoly with them.
Yeah.
I will talk about one question after my experience. I felt Turkish Airlines was fine. I mean, it was weird though. I will say I haven't experienced it that much, but apparently when you have a plane change and you have a seat reserved, sometimes they kind of do musical chairs with it,
Hmm.
and you realize you're not in the same seat you picked. That's what happened with me and everyone else. Like I
Really?
had like seat 2A, and when I went to check in my flight, I was like 6K.
Oh, interesting.
Because
Hmm.
sometimes, when you have a different plane, the seats are differently.
Yeah.
So, otherwise, the experience was fine. The staff was great. I mean, I think if you've heard about Turkish Airlines with the whole chef on board with the cart, they did that.
Oh,
It's,
really?
it's very interesting. They pull up the cart and they
Wow.
say, "Hey, I got this and that. What do you want?" And I know, almost if I would pick 2 or 3 items. I know for dessert tray, I'd pick all of them. It was a cool experience. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
They were very nice. They didn't have any issues with, which I'll talk about you in a second. The filming wasn't an issue with them.
Hmm.
I talked to some of the FAs, but in comparing, like, I think I was telling you this, I was telling a lot of people this. If you classify Turkish Airlines as a European carrier, in my
Hmm.
experience, doing like 6 European carriers, it's one of the best.
Hmm.
You know, I think it's better than like Air France, for example, or KLM. I think it's a little bit better than Finnair. But if you're saying Turkish Airlines is a Middle East carrier, so then you're comparing Turkish to Qatar, Emirates, Etihad. Um, where's the other one? I think that's all of them.
Hmm.
If you're comparing those airlines, out of all those airlines, the ones I've done and ones I've heard about, to me it's like the lowest.
Oh, wow.
Like compared to Qatar, it's not even close. Even with the seat, like the Qatar
Hmm.
Q suites are just it's a suite. Like the seat for Turkish is fine. It's a little bit odd with the inverted layout,
Hmm.
but when you talk about Qatar, like I told you in the beginning, they let you do whatever you want. They have the nice little seating with the
Yeah.
candles, a nice little ambiance. They let you order whatever you want, whenever you want, order whatever you want to eat. Like
Hmm.
it's just different. And as you know with Emirates, like it's just a heightened experience. They give you certain things. There's nothing special with Turkish. It's just a business class flight. The food is fine. Like I ordered, the pancake stuff, the cheese stuff. It's fine. But it's just but it's like the way they describe it in the airport and with people, they say they're the best. Best
Hmm.
airport, best airline. And I'm like,
Of course.
it's not though. Like if you're saying compared to Qatar, Emirates, or Etihad, like it's not. They're on different
Hmm.
levels. Shower in the
Interesting.
suite, bar in the town. Like
Huh.
few sweets. Like, so that's my experience of short synopsis. It was 10 hours in the sky. It was
Yeah.
fine. The snack thing was kind of disappointing. Like, I don't know if your experience with snack was, but like, they didn't really have like, so when business class with snacks, like in between the main and the closing, they have like sandwiches or soups or
Hmm.
whatever. Their snack was just chips and popcorn, which I found
Hmm.
pretty disappointing.
Yeah. That's like a good gas station. That's interesting. Actually, now that you say that, I don't think I can't remember. I think Emirates. I feel like Emirates didn't have a snack in between like that. Like there was no sandwich or soup option. Maybe there was a soup option, but I can't remember, or a salad or something. I remember not getting it. But Lufthansa was nice because they gave like little chocolates and then like a Bavarian heart and stuff, and that was pretty nice. They had some, yeah, and that was actually really good chocolates. I think I gotta go to Germany, honestly. Like the food on that flight was like, damn, this is
Dude,
great.
Germany is cheap though. Germany is cheap. I mean,
Is it really?
yeah, the hotel stays were cheap. The, the food is pretty reasonable. The food is okay. Like I went to Munich, Frankfurt, and Berlin. Like it's just it's such a big country.
Would you go to all three, or which place you
I went to
recommend
all three
staying in?
actually. I stayed 3 nights in all of them, and we did train all of them. It was fine. Like it was all direct shots.
Oh,
You know, they're all vastly different cities. You know, Berlin is the capital. You got a lot of history. You know the whole Jew thing, the Berlin Wall. It's
right.
nice. Munich is a little bit more younger. You got the Christmas markets, hippier food, hippier people, just younger people, more
Hmm.
lively. And then Frankfurt is just kind of in between because it's a major hub. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's such a big stopover spot
Yeah.
that it's got a combination of everything. Like when you're in Frankfurt, if you were to go into the city, dude, it's a 20-minute train ride from the airport to the city.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Man, I
So
think we would love it. And I saw it was pretty cheap. I think I saw like 40K premium economy, like direct from Charlotte to Munich, like very cheap. I was like, it's actually not
so
bad.
Germany is cool. I mean, it's just so
I
many
gotta
big
go there.
cities there. Hamburg, Strasbourg.
Hmm.
I mean, you could
Damn.
spend. That could be a place where you could spend like 2 weeks and just explore different parts if you don't get sick of it, I guess.
Wow. Interesting.
So
Good to know.
so Mike says he says so he's dressed as a chef. I don't know if he's an actual chef. You're asking me like he could be an FA just wearing a chef outfit. I don't know, but like I said, I take it as a chef. I feel like you're being a disservice to a chef because, a chef has a certain heightened experience and level. And then you're telling me, is he really on board? I mean, he's dressed like a chef. I mean, is he a chef? I'll let people decide that. He had the hat on and the white outfit. Is he a chef? I don't know. He
They
looked
just,
like one.
they just paid some homeless guy to play as a chef on the plane.
Manuel says, I flew United Polaris from SFO to Rome, flew back and looked on the bill for grade.
Hmm.
Yeah, Polaris is consistently a good product. It's it's to
I want to try
me,
that.
seeing my wife do Delta One, done American, I think Polaris is the best out of the legacy carriers.
Hmm.
They're just consistent across the board. The food is fine. Polaris seat is good. I mean, I don't have an issue. I think Polaris is the best in my opinion. So
Hmm. Damn. I gotta try that. I need to get some United cards, to be honest.
it's funny with this one here because when you start, I know you've done your searches with Japan, but once you start doing your searches with Japan and research, I'm sure your social media feeds just get just get bamboozled with stuff about Japan, right? And the one
Yeah.
thing I learned last year was that they always say, in 30 years, we don't lose a luggage in Haneda Airport, and then this happens. So that's why like
Oh my
this
god.
thing is so crazy when he says this because it's like a joke, but it's not because you think everything is fine and then it just happens. So
Yeah.
I'll say
Yeah.
this for you, Anthony. I had a situation with my Turkish flight, and I want to know your opinion.
Hmm.
So for Turkish Airlines, I flew business back, but I could not find a flight for my wife on the same flight. So the dilemma is this: you can just book her, or you give up your seat. You book her either premium or economy, fly with you, or do you let her fly a different flight, but you still get there? So in my situation, she took the 8 o'clock flight, and I took the 2 o'clock flight.
Hmm.
Now, if you had the choice, would you do what I did, or would you say, "Hey, just come with me, and I'll sacrifice, and I'll do premium or economy for 10 hours and survive"? because I've done this twice now. I did it last year in Japan, where she flew Delta One, lucky her, and
Wow.
I flew Japan Airlines. But we still got to the same area, but we
Yeah.
flew 1 hour apart. But now with your experience now, would you roll the dice and do different flights, still get there? Or would you say, hey, I'll take the sacrifice and say, nah, I got you. Premium economy I can do for 10 hours.
No, I would downgrade premium and so we could sit, yeah, in the same plane. Yeah, I would I wouldn't put her through that, to be honest. I think it would be way too stressful, I think, if to put her on a different flight and and deal with all that. Even if both business. I think we're very much just like, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it together. Um, Regardless if it's economy or business. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not into the maybe one. I'm not really into the abandoning uh, the wife yet, but yeah, I know you and Chad and Luke like to do that. You know, you guys, good guys. You know, send them on a
It
different
just
plane.
it takes a toll eventually when you start doing something because you're doing economy, premium economy, and it's like I asked
Yeah,
her, I was like
true.
we got to do something here. We can do economy, but I'm like it's gonna be brutal because
She seems okay with like traveling alone though. You said she travels alone a lot, right? So like, it seems she's already doing it. Yeah.
yeah. And when you experience enough economy flight, you start to wonder and you start to roll the dice once in a while, and it eventually works. So which is
Hmm.
interesting because the Japan one was interesting because it was last minute, and I was really hoping she would take Japan Airlines and I take Delta One, but she didn't want to.
Yeah.
And we were out fine. So I mean, like I said, it gets to the point how comfortable you are, and I totally understand if you want to share the experience together. So it's interesting. So here's one thing I want to say about the credit card. So we both have Amex cards here, and I'm wondering here. So my wife just got the upgrade offer a while ago for the gold card from the green. Then she downgraded from the gold to the green because the annual fee hit. And now Amex is saying, hey, we're gonna upgrade again. Do you want to upgrade back to the gold for like
Mm.
1,000 spend for 30,000 points? Would you do it? And my thing is that I just don't know why I would continue with Amex other than these offers. With the increasing annual fees, the coupons, you know, their points value isn't that great with their relationship with Marriott and Hilton and Delta. They're just so bad. So I was just
Hmm.
wondering, is there any glimmer of hope for me to stay with Amex on these offers? Like once they stop giving to me, is there any reason to go for them? Because even in the news now, you heard, right? You have the traditional green card. I heard now that the product change is gone. Like, so I don't
Yeah.
know what else I can do after they stop offering me these offers. I mean,
Yeah, apparently traditional green next month. They're not gonna allow it as a downgrade option any longer, so we'll see. Yeah, I mean, to me, the way you play the game, I think the way you're doing it specifically, I think you'd probably just be, yeah, better off is just whenever they offer you something, you take it, like these upgrade offers or these no lifetime language offers. Like if you can get another 100K gold, or um, if you can get another business gold, if you have enough spend and get 200K Amex, like I think just do that as long as you can. But it seems like you're somebody that would just benefit more on just, getting as many points as possible, not necessarily as many credits and coupons as possible. So I wouldn't blame you. I know you're a good spender too, but you probably just do a lot better just like scheming in other ways, like other cards or wife getting other cards and stuff like that. So I think there's hope, but you really love your points and currencies, and I don't think you really care where they're necessarily coming from. So I think like take what you can get from Amex and then yeah, move on, cancel, move on from it. That's what I'm
so
personally
let me
doing.
ask you. So now that you've been on these couple of trips, is there anything you've been doing like souvenir wise, or anything that you've been starting to collect now on these trips? Like for example, I've got a couple of these now. These Park Hyatts. I've
Oh
been
yeah.
collecting the hotel cards. Um, obviously the amenity bags. Some stuff here I have on the wall here, like um, the Stockholm horse. Apparently,
Oh
it
nice.
provides good luck and stuff like that. Is there been anything you've done now that you've gone into you just grab as I guess as a memory or memoir that you can keep? Or like for example, I keep all of my plane tickets.
Oh wow.
Like here's the ANA one, Japan Airlines, especially the first class ones. I keep those. Like, is there anything you do that you keep as memory other than I guess the photos? Whether it's yourself or your wife, kind of a niche thing, I'd say.
Um, I would I would like two more. This is actually something we talked about. Like, well, honestly, the one thing that's been consistent is like a magnet, like a fridge magnet of the area. It's like the most tchotchke thing ever. But I think that's like the easiest. But I will say it's kind of hard sometimes to get mementos of places. Like, yeah, I mean, we have the slippers in the bag from the SLH in Paros. We have a little bit of we have a little magnet from there. Like the Emirates flight. Oh, that's nice. Is that oh, that's the boat. Wow, very
Yeah.
nice. We have like the Emirates headphones. It's like they're almost like Dre Beats in a way, but it has like Emirates on the side and the pajamas they gave us, little things like that. But one thing that we found is like, well, Greece, she found some jewelry that was cool. But Italy, it's like, yeah, you can take something home, but it's something I could buy, at the dollar store anywhere else, like a David statue or a mini Colosseum or something like that. I'm like, none of that really matters. It's like little things, but I found the magnets to be cool because you can line it up and it's like, oh, each area you've been to, and even little areas will have them. Like I think we got one in a smaller island off the coast of Paros. We got an anti-Paros magnet as well. So I think that's the most that we'll do. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, whatever the hotel gives us. Obviously, the key cards. Oh yeah, one day I would love to just go through every key card because it's so much. There's just so many of them. It's impossible. Yeah, look at that. Park Hyatt. Is that Kyoto, that first one?
Yeah, for some reason I can't find my Kyoto one. I have the
Huh.
Park Hyatt Seoul.
Oh, so
My wife did Auckland. We did Doha for one night. So I mean,
damn.
you've got Washington give you a huge ass card, a huge ass little,
Oh yeah.
and then this is the one from I think this is Sydney. Sydney's a great one. Like if you go to Australia, I think Sydney is like one of those just with the view and the opera house. Like it's one of those bucket list places you have to do if you ever go to Australia. It's just, I mean, I could sit eating breakfast all morning. I mean, it's just such a serene kind of area, you know.
Wow. Yeah, you said you liked it there. Um, yeah, I wish I had more though. I wish I had more from all these places.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. 242.
Huh. That's a big plane.
I mean,
What
it's
the?
a big middle area. I mean, it almost
Yeah.
tells me it's economy, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, true.
I mean, the only one that he's referring to on top of my mind that has it too. So Japan Airlines has three business class configurations. They're known as Sky Suites, and it's the second one is my guess. So I guess what he's referring to. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at what Fun said below Sleepy Rut.
Letting go of
What?
Amex, hard to rack up points as fast. Yeah, I think Amex is what everyone says, right? They're so easy to earn, but they're so easy to
Yeah.
let go. It's like 1 minute you
Yeah,
have
true.
100,000 and then they're gone.
Legit. Legit. Um, I was laughing at what Fun said
Let's
below.
see what he said.
He had a bad experience. Eva, 14 hour.
Oh yeah, I actually it's funny because I've definitely had an experience like it before, like where someone is just like they just can't stop. It's like and it's like and then it's like it reminds me of like one of
What?
these one of these clips where like someone's doing it right, but they have like headphones on and they don't know they're doing it, and they're like they don't realize everyone can smell, and they're just like, oh yeah, I guess it's me.
What the
So I
hell?
mean,
That's a thing, man. I haven't, no, I haven't had that yet. The only thing I've been consistently been like, what the hell? It's like everybody's sneezing, everybody's coughing. I'm like, what's going on? Everybody's doing it like constantly, but that's great. Going right through the plastic wall. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Unreal.
so with Amex, I was wondering too. Like, I know you guys talk. We always talk about credits, and shout out to Darius. We talked about this a while ago.
Hmm.
So we know that we can use credits, right, to offset the annual fee. I was
Yeah.
wondering, like, what if you didn't use the credits, right? Let's say you really didn't care about the credits, and let's say you made the actual spend. So
Hmm.
we're kind of talking about. So let's say we have the MS Gold Card. We feel sometimes if you make the spend, of, let's say 15,000 a year, which on food isn't really difficult, especially for a family.
Hmm.
But if you do 15 times 4, 60,000 points, that's about a bonus. I was thinking when I talk about credits, at least for annual fee cards, I feel like the best way that you should be getting your value is through the spend because that's why you get the card. And I think the credits are kind of the icing on the top. So when I was talking about that, do you believe really like Like, do you justify the credits as using the credits as enough for the annual fee, or do you believe that the spend is worth it alone?
Uh, I mean, that's tough just because it's like, oh yeah, if you have enough spend to do, to make it like a platinum card worth it or a gold card worth it. I mean, what transfer partners does Amex have that you couldn't pivot or get from anywhere else with a lot cheaper annual fee cards? Like, what transfer partners do they have that Citi doesn't have, or Capital One doesn't have? And I guess
A&A.
well, yeah. I mean, if you're constantly trying to do an A&A, then yeah, that's a big problem. But then again, I mean, you can pay a little bit more, but you could do Air Canada, to get some A&A flights. Maybe it's a little bit harder, but I don't know. I feel like there's just ways you can kind of make it all happen without one singular currency. It's like, I don't know, lately I've been just trying to accumulate any currency that will allow me. So like I have 70K Capital One. I technically used half of my stash of Capital One to book that another one business class flight on Lufthansa to come home for her. So it was like, I don't know. I've like Chase was my Emirates, and Amex ended up being my Hilton hotels, and then Capital One ended up being my flight home. So it's like I think they all can work in your favor. It's just like, where can you save money, I think is the main thing for me. So it's like, what are you getting in Amex that you can't get anywhere else, I guess, is the idea. And if you can't get anything else, like definitely NA constantly, there's other, like or Hilton, you can't get anywhere else, then yeah, then it makes more sense for you to just stay Amex. But if you can get it elsewhere, why not? Just go to other currencies that'll give you some either welcome offers or yeah, higher spend with no annual fees. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, appreciate fun. Appreciate the engagement too. You really
It's
made this live super entertaining.
very fun.
So I think, towards the end here, let's just say, I know you're going to Japan. It sounds like you have almost everything planned out. I know you said you're doing 5 days in Kyoto, which, like I said, in my opinion, I don't think you're going to spend 5 days in Kyoto, in my opinion. I think
Osaka.
eventually you'll realize after day 2 or 3, or even day 1, you'll probably start venturing out to maybe smaller cities, and you'll realize how great the train system is there in the metro.
It's
And I
good to
think you
know.
could either use Kyoto or Osaka as a base. Like everyone I've talked about, and maybe because you're getting so much great advice, you actually could be one of the first people that when you go for the first time, especially for like 8, 10 days, you actually might do more than the golden route, which is great because a lot of people who go there the second time will end up doing other cities. But for your opinion, because you're absorbing such great information, you may realize you can go to Nara or you may
Hmm.
go to Kobe and get that Kobe beef, which you should, because it's really
Hmm.
good, but really expensive.
Hmm.
But I think that's something to consider when you're staying at, in Kyoto. I don't think you have to venture out so much in Tokyo just because every day for you in Tokyo will be a different prefecture or a different little city,
Hmm.
like Shinjuku, Shibuya,
Yeah.
um, Asakusa. Like you won't have to worry about saying, hey, um, am I gonna have enough time to do this, or I'm not gonna know what to do because you can even just go out and wander in Tokyo and you'll be like, oh, this is great. Like I didn't even have an itinerary and I just do whatever,
Hmm.
So whether it's like what I do all the time, I had a mission one day where I went to every Pokemon Center. Like I went to every Pokemon Center. I
Oh
went
my
to every
God.
Pokemon Center in Tokyo and something like that. So it's just I think you'll be fine. Like I said, I think it's great that you're planning ahead and you have the strategy, for ANA and then Japan Airlines. And I will say I've been looking at Japan Airlines lately. I don't know if it's just now, but the 2 week thing hasn't been as consistent
Yeah,
lately. Even
I
just
felt
like
that.
yeah, like so I don't know if it's just something I know if you're keeping a watch for it, but just what I've seen because I've kind of just been looking out and it's been kind of interesting that it hasn't been as crazy as it was like let's say 2 months ago,
Yeah,
like where I was finding like
constant.
Vancouver, Seattle, everything, Boston. Now I'm only seeing like maybe Vancouver or Chicago or San Francisco. Like it's not as crazy as it's been, lately, I would say. So
Yeah, it has me a little worried because I'm like, that's my plan for, possibly even both way, going there and coming back. So I'm like, damn, I hope that'll remain until, you know, 3 weeks before the trip, 2 weeks before the trip. We'll see. Um, you know, So I hope that will, they'll come back. Maybe, maybe it's now, October, for some reason. Maybe summertime, there's way more flights being pushed out. But yeah, I noticed that and I'm like, I'm a little worried. Like, oh, we'll see.
And I feel bad too because that's what everyone's been telling you. Everyone's been preaching you the good word, and it's been consistent
Well,
for like
yeah.
the last 2 years. I've been doing JAL. Like I've flown Japan Airlines 4 times,
Hmm.
and except for like I think one flight, everything has been planned last minute, and it hasn't been an issue.
Yeah.
But for this telling you or anyone else, it's kind of disappointing. But because ANA is even harder. It's
Yeah.
it's almost impossible now. Like if you have flights now, you're good, but look for more flights. Like it's even harder
Yeah.
now. So
I still just have the one business class booked for her. And then I don't, I have nothing. I have
I
the one
mean,
leg. Yeah.
I
We'll
have
see.
been. I don't know. You probably been seeing alerts, but I have been getting alerts for like I've been looking at flights like late fall. I've been getting alerts, and I obviously if you're on the ball, then you check them immediately. They're there for like
Yeah.
a minute, but
Yeah.
obviously if you check like an hour later, it's probably gone. So I mean, it's still there, but it's just
Hmm.
you still have to play that game, and I
Yeah.
mean, so.
Yeah.
But
We'll see as
like I
I get
said,
closer. I think I might shorten a day too. I might just do 4 Kyoto, 4 Tokyo, and call it a day. I feel like that might be smarter, but I'm not sure. We'll have to
I
see.
mean, in the end, it just depends on what you want to do. Like I said, everyone kind of goes their own way or make it very detailed. I mean, I know I did 3 days in Tokyo. I was not even close to enough. So if
Hmm.
you're doing at least 4 to 5, you should be fine just because of the pace you want to go and explore. And then, like I said, whenever you land in Tokyo, I don't know what flight time your is, but like I said, it's gonna take a while just for you to get acclimated, and everything. And then
Hmm.
so.
Makes sense. Interesting.
But I know you talked about your strategy going forward with your cards, and I know, like I said, I agree with you. It's been rough. Like I tried the freaking Chase Unlimited, I got denied. They said too many freaking cards, too many
Ugh.
accounts,
Damn.
and like I might wait again, like in a week or two to try for the bigger offer because I wasn't really caring because I applied for the Unlimited with a 75K, and I didn't care if
Hmm.
I got denied. But knowing there's a 90K, I might try to apply again for 90K. But yeah, it's been kind of tough with Chase lately because they've been kind of
Yeah.
hunkering it down because like my wife just got the Barclays,
Oh,
so
really?
because I think they said it's gonna go away like this month, so I was like, let me just roll the dice, let her get the card. I think now she's gonna have like I said like almost 200K AA miles because she got the City card and now the Barclays card, and then she's got the City cards as well, so she has like I mean she if you want to transfer everything to AA, she probably has like 250 AA miles. It's kind of crazy to be honest.
Oh, wow. Huh.
She's been loading
Damn.
up on City points and AA points, for her travels and you know.
Damn. Yeah, that's a good amount for sure. Yeah, it's feels a little sparse out there, with certain offers or getting denied for other ones. Like I would love to get some United. I got denied for the Aeroplan at 85K offer, so it's like, luckily she's still three.
Did you get the mailer or email? Because I got it too, and I'm afraid to do it too because
Eh.
I don't know how I got this card because they say I'm 524, but I got it, and
Hmm.
now I'm like, if I got this card, why can't I get another Chase card? And it's like, so
Yeah, it might just be IHG because I've heard that with IHG, like no problem getting it over 5. But then I was denied for the Aeroplan. Unfortunately, I did with the mail offer too. I did, so I was
was it the
surprised.
85K you were getting?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because now like I'm debating, like I'm actually considering like what I could do is roll the dice with the Hawaiian business card because I already got the personal, and I know if you get the Hawaii card before the end of this month, your points will automatically transfer to Atmos. So
Yeah.
I might roll the dice and get it again, and just get more, Alaska Air because like
Yeah.
I've been finding out like Alaska Air has been pretty crazy. Alaska Air and A are obviously the top tier, and like to me, like I'm finding like really good flights right now for like Starlux or Japan
Mm.
Airlines. Like you can do like a layover
Yeah.
or even do Q suites. It's another thing too, like Q suites with a layover in Doha to Asia, and that's something that's also considerable too. So, in obviously, Alaska has the free stopover too, which I think is very very important.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that's my only consideration right now. I have to decide, I guess, in like 3 days if I'm gonna do the Hawaiian card if I don't go with another Chase card. So,
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think that's I think that's probably a smart move. I should probably do that. I also just need to apply for the, Alaska card. Yeah, most business. If I can get like an extra 70K Alaska, that'd be great. They have like 20K left on Alaska. So, yeah, I need to replenish. I have so many stashes to replenish. I have like no points anywhere. I have 20K Chase, 70K Capital One. That's about it.
I'm pretty good too.
and
I think I've got
and
like
yeah,
15
300K.
Amex, 20 Capital One. But then my wife has all the
Damn.
points though. She has like 100 Amex.
I see.
I let her have all the points. The only thing I have right now in excess is like 200,000 IHG. I got the bonus. I'm doing the timeshare next month. And then I'm doing the time for Hilton next month as well. We're going to New York for a wedding. So I did
Nice.
another timeshare for her. So it's like, I don't know. And then I'm doing the Marriott presentation next week. The funny thing with that I told you is that, so I told you I was too early. And then he's like, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll just wait till you're ready and then we'll schedule the call when you're eligible. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll do another virtual timeshare presentation with Marriott again.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah, I mean, game it while you can, honestly. That's the way, for sure.
yeah, I think that's all I had. I think we've been here for almost 3 hours, and it's really great to hear your experience on your flights, also your advice on some of the stuff, especially Greece was really good, and then hearing your outlook on Italy because I think it's a great country to visit overall, and there's always things just to be very careful with as well. So
Yeah.
I'll let you have the last word, Anthony. You want to say anything to anyone who's remaining, and then we'll just sign off.
No, just thanks for everybody hanging out for the entire experience, and then yeah, thanks Mike for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I like this because you went really in depth with a lot of things that I even forgot happened, and now it'll help me actually make videos on this for the future because I forgot some of the stuff that happened. So you actually really great questions. I thought great interview style for it. So good stuff, man.
And yeah, we appreciate Anthony joining. Like I said, it's funny before this live, I met you in person more times than I've had you in a live, so it's kind of crazy to hear
That's
it
funny,
back.
yeah.
So I
That's
was like,
right,
I have
yeah.
to kind of, get back with him and just reward him. And yeah, I mean, you've been a very inspiring individual to have and just have good advice. So I appreciate you joining, taking the time to speak with me today. And, maybe we will see each other in Japan next year. I mean, I've got on the docket with Annie around the world.
Yeah.
There should be about a 2 to 3 intersection, I believe, when you arrive and when I leave. So it should be good to go. I mean, it's there, and
Okay.
yeah,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And thank you for all your advice you've given over time, It's you're like my go-to person. Like if I want to learn anything about honestly travel, I just honestly just go to you first because you have the best insights, I think. You know. And you don't get mad when I ask too many questions. Yeah. You're almost like ChatGPT in a way. Like you never really get mad or anything. You just you just kind of answer, and it's always insightful. Like it's appreciated.
because I think I've learned that the credit card thing is one thing, and then the travel thing is kind of separate when they should be
Yeah.
together. But and so it's just like I just want people to I told people this, like I was talking with Darius, like when I see people make crazy sub offers, or they make a purchase for $100 and earn 40,000 Capital One points or Amex points racketing, it's almost like I want people to redeem their points in the same manner they earned it. I guess that's what I want to preach. Really, like you can do 1 cent per point, you can do one. That's great, but I guess I just want people to have a similar attitude the way they earn it as the way they redeem it. Just because the money we spend, the money we earn, it's all the same. And I just don't want people to take it for granted, I guess. But like I said, it's your point, it's your life. But if I can provide any advice, especially from you or from my channel or from my memberships, I'm willing to do it. So it's good to hear, and I appreciate all the questions from everyone, from Fun, Mike Newland, obviously he's a member of everyone's channel, Cesar, Kevin. So, otherwise, if anyone's still here, thank you for joining. We're going to sign off, and when there is a next time, we'll let you know.